as reported by the Times in 2017, British police arrested at least 3,395 people for making offensive comments on the internet in 2016 across 29 police forces. The exact figures are likely to be significantly higher as 13 police forces refused to provide the requested information. The canary died already in Britain, and now in California, there is a man that wrote mean words to a mosque on Facebook, and California is now charging him under some fucking bullshit statute about using the phone. So, it is coming. Uncle Bobbity, hashtag Muslim Media Britannica, pedos the world over are joining Islam to take advantage of the rich cultural expression of their religion. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because pedophiles joined Jehovah's Witnesses because they considered it a pedophile paradise, and they knew that they would get access to children, and not only would nothing happen to them, but it would be covered up anyway. So that's interesting. Thank you very much, Uncle Bobbity. It's funny, though. I make that criticism about the Jehovah's Witnesses, and people are like, oh, how brave. He's brave. He escaped the cult, and he's talking out against them. That's great. I say the same shit about Islam. Some of those people go, oh, my God, this is so racist. It's the same fucking shit. I mean, except the Jehovah's Witnesses without the, killing people part. They don't do that. Frenchinator 2, I don't like saying think of the children, but think of the children. No, I think it's a valid point here. This is not a democratic talking point. This is a valid point with this. Oh, man. Absolutely incredible. All right. So let's see here. All right, we're going to move to videos now.
I think that's my mic, yeah. Everything working? Cuckoo. My name's jamespfp. This is the Banjocast. I'm watching Hard Bastard for a little while, and while I was watching him, somebody popped into this chat here. So I'm gonna maintain a lower profile. If anyone wants to jump in on my chat's also active. You can watch Hard News Network live on either of his channels, Hard Bastard or Hard News Network. I haven't put a link in the description. And we're in the middle of a break between items. I've got a whole bunch of other things lined up. I wrote earlier tonight. Took care of everything I want to talk about.
All right, so we got 3 videos here, and we're going to start off. Let's see here. We're going to start off with David Pakman. David Pakman's going to have a very interesting discussion about the dossier, and this is going to be fantastic. Let me make sure the desktop is on. Yeah, we're good. All right, Pakman, let's see what's going on here.
Yesterday, Senator Dianne Feinstein, who's a Democrat from California, she decided to sort of unilaterally, in a rogue kind of way, release the testimony that took place before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Now, hold on, David. Why isn't she crazy? Remember, Devin Nunes, he released information in a rogue type of way, but you didn't have a problem. I mean, you had a problem with that, but you don't have a problem with Dianne Feinstein. Interesting. It's almost as if you're being inconsistent for political reasons. RX420 Bliss, Christ said it better than you. Have a millstone hung around your neck and cast it into the sea, then harm one hair on a child's head. Yeah. And
I do believe that that's not actual translation there. He's added a bit at the end which is not in the Bible. It causes one of these young ones to stumble or something like that. Funny how they can't really tell what the Bible really says about that.
From a few of the people involved,
it's not in the context of child sexual abuse.
What is Fusion
is what I'm saying.
Why is this big? Fusion
funny quote used.
Is the organization that was involved in the procurement of that now infamous Russia dossier. And before I get into the details, it's really important to understand the backstory of this. What Fusion GPS does.
Yes, build up Fusion GPS. Tell us why they are so credible.
More generally, is that there
funny
are
quote to
research
use
and
with
strategic
child sexual
intelligence
abuse being in the
companies based
context,
in Washington,
re
D.C.
religious
They
instruction.
do investigation. They do opposition research, related activities, other types of information gathering. Glenn Simpson is the co-founder of Fusion GPS. Joshua Levy is a lawyer for Fusion GPS. And they, and possibly even a couple of others, but they, as the primary, most important witnesses for today's story, were called in to testify before the Senate Judiciary
That's the best
Committee
evidence
some
that
time
side
ago
has got. And right now,
about how the
RX-420 is an
Russian
arsehole.
Trump dossier came to be.
And of course, he's not going to say anything about the Wall Street Journal or the former writers for the Wall Street Journal. That's not
And
important at all.
since more and more people have been saying, well, why don't you release that
I think
testimony?
I'll prove
And part
it.
of the reason why there have been calls to release the testimony
Is it Bible
of
Hub?
Simpson and Levy are because Republicans have been on a smear campaign against Fusion
Yeah, we'll start
GPS.
here.
When the truth is,
Bitch, there hasn't
I
been
don't
a
need
smear
Proverbs.
campaign.
I want
There
one
have
of
been
the New
genuine
Testament
things that
books.
have come out about these people.
Let's pick.
And that is
I
why
think that's in Matthew.
this is happening.
Or probably,
What do you
might
mean
even be
smearing?
in...
They just don't like Glenn Simpson? I
is
mean,
that
this
you
is
can
complete
like
bullshit.
Could
the
even
concept of
possibly be
opposition
in,
research,
whatchamacallit?
or you can dislike it, but
Luke.
to question the legality of it or the ethics of it
No,
only
not the one I
because
want. Bible
it turned
Gateway.
up this dossier that said really bad things about the guy that Trump is like, Donald Trump.
Who's making that argument? The argument isn't opposition research.
Use
the
good
argument,
news
first
or
of all, there's two
use-
arguments. One, it's the
Let's use
hypocritical
King
argument
James right now.
that you had to pay Russians to get this
21st century
information,
King
which is
James?
hypocrisy, which is collusion with Russians, okay, on the Clinton side. The second argument here is that everyone acknowledges that it's opposition research. The problem is the fact that it got up
Matthew.
all the way to the fucking FBI and in front of the goddamn president. That's
say
the
Matthew
fucking
That is
5
very
now.
biased, arbitrary, and capricious. So
I know where that starts, right?
You are arbitrary.
what
and
Fusion
capricious.
GPS did is they hired
And nice try quoting Kramer. Of course, I'm going to catch that. He quoted
Christopher
Kramer. That's from
Steele.
Kramer.
You probably know that name by now. Christopher Steele is the private British corporate intelligence investigator, former MI6 agent. He did the actual research for the dossier. And senators up until now
Okay, not there.
have
Allegedly.
refused to
Want the
release the
next
testimony
book.
where Simpson and Levy talked about how, why, and when
6.
did you get Christopher
Next
Steele
chapter.
to start working on this dossier? What was it that happened as the dossier was being developed? And a number of these other relevant questions. Senator Feinstein has decided to release the testimony, and it is stunning. So let's start with why Dianne Feinstein chose to
suffer the
release
little
this
children?
testimony. She said in a statement yesterday, the innuendo and misinformation circulating about the transcript are part of a deeply troubling effort to undermine the investigation into potential collusion and obstruction of justice. The only way to set the record straight
Do you
is to
know,
make the transcript
I think
public.
that is.
And she did that, and the testimony has now been examined. I looked at dozens
that
of
is the
pages
thing I'm
yesterday,
looking
although
for.
not all of them, because it is, I think, over 300 total pages.
Oh, I can't wait, David. Redneck Rams Parlor. You know, HB, you make great background chatter to play video games too. Also do way more videos with Aiden. I love how long-winded you both are. Well, I'm glad
Matthew
that you like
19.
that because we are long-winded. Thank you very much. Redneck Rams Parlor. I appreciate that. Frenchinator. You know, you should always trust what a spy tells you. It's not like spies lie for a living. Yeah, and we should always trust the FBI and the CIA and the deep state. Absolutely. Incredible. Thank you, Frenchinator.
And I'll give you some of the highlights because there's really a lot here. Number one, Glenn Simpson, co-founder of Fusion GPS, testified that Christopher Steele told him that the FBI had a source inside the Trump organization during the campaign. Now, Trump
This
organization,
is a funny
it
verse to
wasn't
notice
clear
here, too.
whether he meant the Trump campaign.
They were
or
brought to him little
the
children,
Donald
so he
Trump,
put his hands on them and prayed, and the
corporation.
disciples
But
rebuked them.
the allegation
Jesus
was
says, suffer
that
little
the FBI
children
was
and
talking
forbid them not to come unto
someone
me, for
close to
such is the
Donald Trump
kingdom of
during
heaven.
the
And then he
campaign.
laid hands on them,
That's
and they
incredibly
departed.
notable, because why, even at that early phase, would someone involved with Trump be talking to the FBI? Glenn Simpson also testified that the Trump organization drastically understates the value of their buildings, their real estate, in order to pay less in taxes,
So
but
it's not
exaggerates the
there.
value of that same
not
real
Matthew
estate
19.
in legal filings to make it appear as though they are a smaller lending risk when
Oh, Get the handcuffs out. Common business practices. Holy shit, get out the handcuffs.
Securing loans and using their real estate as collateral. Not in and of itself mind-blowing, but it does corroborate.
How about legal? Is it legal?
Luke, and also Matthew.
Yes,
18.
David, it's legal. Okay, thanks for bringing it up, though. Very relevant. Very relevant to Russian collusion.
This idea that increasingly the financial-related stuff is probably of interest to Robert Mueller and his team. Glenn Simpson testified that while
I would think any information would be considered valuable to a person.
Whoever should humble himself as a little child, the same as the greatest in heaven, who shall receive one such little child in my name.
The truth is that Trump does know the guy, and that even after finding out Trump did that
one of these
Sater
little
was
ones which
associated
believe
with the
in
Russian mob,
we're better for him to have a millstone, so he didn't even quote it right.
Sater. Fusion GPS.
That he were drowned in the depth of the sea.
Well, again, get out the handcuffs. Was that illegal?
Funny how they've got no protection whatsoever in the Bible.
No?
Pedos,
Okay.
I mean.
Bang up job you're
you won't
doing
find
so
it there.
far.
U.S. Attorney
Very
Joshua Levy.
The only protection you're going to get is also the only
died
protection
as a result
society has, the
of
law.
The Trump-Russia dossier. Quote,
Of course someone's going to die. The children are going to die. I mean, that's a given. People are going to die if you don't accept the Democratic talking points. That's a given. Someone died. How is that Trump's fault? Who the fuck? I mean, what are you talking about? Someone died because of the dossier. Yeah, that's not a Democratic talking point at all. That's not used over and over again. Who died? How did they
quote,
die? What were the
somebody's
details?
already been killed as a result of the publication of this dossier, and no harm should come to anybody related to this honest work. That is interesting, and we don't know more about that, but that is...
Oh, well, that sounds very credible. We don't know anything, but we do know someone died. Of course,
Matthew 18, Matthew 19. What was the other one? Luke 12?
True. David Pacman.
Luke
again,
17.
doing a great job here. This is totally not propaganda. Pickle jars for Hillary. Guilt by association only applies to Trump, not Hillary Clinton. That is also true. That is also true. When Hillary Clinton is associating with grand wizards of the KKK, no, that's okay. Oh, no. She's a friend of black people. Forget all that. He reformed.
That is a huge piece of breaking news that we learned.
Made even
from
more
that's huge.
explicit
Oh,
than this
Glenn
one.
Simpson testified that the FBI believed Chris's information might be credible because they had other intelligence that indicated the same thing.
It's
And
impossible,
one of
but
those
that
pieces
offenses
of
will come
intelligence
in the
was
sense that
human
it's
source
impossible you can
inside
afford,
the
you
Trump
can
organization.
avoid being accused of something,
It might be credible.
but woe unto him
Yeah.
through whom they come.
That hasn't been the same narrative since the
i.e.
beginning. These things might be
That
true.
is
No
interesting
special
because
dispensation
what it
for the
suggests
messenger.
To us is
If
that
we're
the
better for,
Republican
it will be
line,
better for him,
that this
the messenger,
fake dossier
that a
was
millstone
the
were hanged around his
sole
neck and cast in the
lonely
sea, that he should
catalyst of
offend
Robert
one of
Mueller's
these little ones.
investigation is not true.
Excuse me. That was the media narrative.
I
straight
do believe
from
I have to
the
go
media.
back a chapter.
So now you're blaming Republicans for going with what the media said was at the center of the Mueller investigation. We did a video where Rachel Maddow was talking shit about it. I marveled at how crazy that is. That we've reached a point where they're admitting that because it's such a discredited piece of shit. Nice try in changing
If you
that.
believe that the Trump-Russia dossier is filled with lies, which we know it's not, right? Increasingly, more and more elements of the Trump-Russia dossier are
the
corroborated.
millstone around the neck threat
Okay,
is
that is an outright
the Russian
lie. He is
dossier of the
outright
Christian
lying there.
faith.
We have already gone over this. To say
I'll
that
stand
is
by that.
complete bullshit. I showed you the fucking press conference with Burr and Warner, and they said that they could not. They reached a wall at the very beginning of the fucking dossier,
Let's do it.
and they can't get past it. So give me a fucking.
But
His
if you
name
believe that the dossier is merely
the
lies,
Russian dossier.
then
of
you
the
could criticize the Mueller
Christians.
investigation by saying, well, the only reason the FBI even started to look into Trump's campaign is because of this bogus dossier. What we now know is that whether or not you think the dossier is bogus, and of course, again, we know that it is not.
Again, an outright lie to say we know that it is not. You're using a
He looks like
propaganda
Fonzie.
technique of appealing to, like, oh, we all believe it. Why don't you believe it? There must be something wrong with you. No, we don't know that, bitch. We don't fucking know that.
Is the
Stop
Russian
lying.
dossier of the Christian Bible.
Doesn't matter because the FBI was already looking into Trump's campaign before the creation of this dossier. That is
why does it matter? If that's the case, fine, but why? That has no basis on the credibility of the dossier. The only thing that could prove the dossier credible is if the things in it are verified, motherfucker. Not if the FBI did this or that. That doesn't matter. Stop trying to escape the dossier. You can't do it. We will not let you. Nice try, bitch. Frenchinator 2. The pissy papers are true in my...
This is the same section, though.
Yes,
this is what
David is referring to. Thank you,
That is absolutely major.
This
but
is
again,
in Matthew
if
18
you watch
and
Fox
19
News
too.
or listen to Hannity or Rush Limbaugh, you're not going to
Beggar
get that
Lazarus,
picture because
who was
this
blind?
is what they're telling their viewers.
Oh, full of sores,
Dianne
right.
Feinstein is being slammed by some Republicans for releasing the testimony, although not everybody is upset with her. Chuck Grassley is the Republican who chairs the Judiciary Committee in the Senate. He said it's confounding that Feinstein would do this in the middle of an ongoing investigation. The problem is that the investigation Grassley is talking about is one he called for by saying we need a criminal referral for
Luke
Christopher
7,
Steele.
look at
In
Luke
other words,
17,
Chuck
13
Grassley is using the
proves
fact
a
that he
point that I needed
created
a while back.
an actual political witch hunt of Christopher Steele.
No, he didn't create a witch hunt of Christopher Steele. They discovered that he lied to the FBI about dates that he talked to the media. So again, why are you lying? This is very easily verifiable
As a reason
information.
why we shouldn't know what was said during the testimony of these two associates of Fusion GPS. It's completely circular reasoning. It's what Peter Boghossian calls a closed loop of reasoning that you can't get out of. Republican John Cornyn, on the other hand, says it's a good thing and that he's glad that...
Robert Loso, stop the hammering. Oh, wait, that's me. Thanks for helping pass the time at work, HB. Oh, I'm very glad I can do that. Thank you, Robert. Captain Laybeard brings out how they twist this. Then they say the dossier is partially true. What they mean is there's certain things like they'll be like, well, the dossier says.
Here
that,
in the background, my computer just decided to slow down again. Anyway,
other countries. Well, yeah, everyone knows that.
I'm wondering whether or not it
well,
identifies who were around him.
None of the things about Trump in there have been verified. It's complete bullshit. And to say that more and more parts of it are being verified, that's an outright lie. And I would say any Pac-Man supporter or retard that believes this shit, tell me what specifically
This has the
been
feeling of being in
the dossier
a synoptic group.
that would affect Trump. That is actually
The Samaritan story is also here in 17.
This was actually released. And what I came away with is that the folks at Fusion GPS know what they're doing. That's one of the biggest takeaways I had.
Oh, I am so shocked that a wannabe corporate media shill came away from the situation sucking on Fusion GPS's dick. I'm stunned. I'm
From
so
looking
stunned.
through several dozen pages and a couple of summaries of the testimony. One example is this brief statement I'm going to put up on the screen for you from the testimony.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Apparently,
So
David's going to
that.
jerk off Glenn Simpson right in front of us.
Simpson
All right, let's
I
hear
want to
this.
make note of it, though.
Differences
I don't want to forget
between
it.
the Russian and Italian mob operations. He said, quote, you know, Russian
Oh,
organized
shit,
crime
ton
is
of
very
stuff already
different from
loaded.
Italian organized crime. It's much more sort of a hybrid kind of thing where they're involved in politics and banking, and there's even a lot of connections between the mafia and the KGB or the FSB and cybercrime, things that the Italians sort of never figured out. Stock fraud in particular was the big thing in the United States. In any event, all of that entered into my thinking when I saw that Donald Trump was in business with Felix Sater in the Trump Soho project and a number of other controversial condo projects. This, to me, is a very savvy and knowledgeable firm. And to go back to what I said...
Oh, yes, and all of that information was very relevant. David, you still have some of Glenn Simpson's cum in your hair. You might want to
at the
take care of
beginning,
that.
You can find opposition research to be a despicable game, and many of us do.
This is not about opposition research. Opposition research is fine. That is not the issue. Again, you are changing the argument because you are a dishonest bitch. That is
And
what is happening.
I do in many ways as well. But to allege that Fusion GPS, by taking on this project, by hiring Christopher Steele, was doing anything particularly or uniquely...
That is not the argument. It is the Clinton campaign doing it and then accusing Donald Trump Jr. of having a meeting with a Russian to get opposition research. It's hypocrisy. Again, I know you know this, This is why I call you Propaganda Pac-Man. And Papa Bear No Fucks, does corporate dick taste like chicken, Pac-Man? Well, I don't think he knows what the corporate dick tastes like. He hasn't sucked the corporate dick yet. He's waiting to suck the corporate dick, but he just sucked Glenn Simpson's dick. I don't know what that would taste like. You'd have to ask David.
Illegal, immoral, or unethical is absolutely not true. These are real professionals who know what they are doing. So the broad strokes takeaway for me is, number one, professionals doing high-level research, hired a credible and experienced researcher in Christopher Steele, and it's not really that surprising that over time, more and more elements of the Trump-Russia dossier have been confirmed. Number two, if you read through the questions and answers from Republicans and Simpson and Levy, and Democrats and Simpson and Levy, you will notice that almost every question asked by Republicans was a question focused on trying to demean and defame the witnesses, not figure out the truth of the Trump-Russia dossier. Even before they got into this hearing, Republicans came prepared with questions not meant to figure out, oh, well, how did Christopher Steele's methods relate to what the FBI was?
Because they can't figure it out. They have said it, so of course they are now questioning the people who did it because it is not credible. The Frenchinator 2, have you asked David what GPS jizz tastes like? Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. We're going to find out. At least, well, we're not going to find out. He's not going to tell us, but he's definitely sucking off Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson. Uncle Bobby, David Pacman's muscle memory activates when he hears grunting noises. He gets on his knees and starts sucking the air. Poor effeminate lying cunt. Thank you, Uncle Bobby.
Doing and what elements of this are sourced in one way or the other. No, all their questions were basically trying to make Glenn Simpson and Joshua Levy look bad, to discredit their entire operation, and that is a red flag that we should all be aware of.
Yes, how dare you ask questions that discredit discredited people?
Lastly,
how dare you?
Even before Fusion GPS hired Christopher Steele, what we learned from the testimony was that Fusion GPS was already aware of Donald Trump's connection to crime bosses in Russia. They were already aware of Donald Trump's connection to others, mob-tied people in the former Soviet states.
Yes, and those are very credible and verified
Steele was hired not to generate new information, but to fill in gaps in a framework that Fusion...
Made by former Wall Street Journal journalists. You know what? He kind of said it here. He just says Fusion GPS. That's,
GPS already had. So only further telling us that the dossier itself was not presenting completely new and previously unseen information to Fusion GPS, and furthermore, that the dossier, as we've heard from James Clapper and others, was...
Oh, James Clapper, what a fucking credible person he is. It's not like he's one of the biggest fucking liars in the entire country. Oh, let's roll out James Clapper, totally credible person.
It's not the catalyst for the FBI and for Fusion GPS to start looking into the connections between Donald Trump and Russia, be they connections related to the campaign, financial connections, and other connections to Russians like Felix Sater, the mob-connected Russian oligarch. This is major in terms of how it refocuses what we now know to be the Robert Mueller investigation.
Oh. Okay, clown, if it's major, can you show me one fucking thing that has come from this testimony that is actual evidence? Remember, the standard is so low for evidence, I'll take half a piece of evidence at this point. Can you give me a half a piece of verifiable evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia? That there was some sort of deal where
David Tetra Pac-Man
sanctions for Russia hacking the election. Do you have something?
I was thinking about it today. Is Pac-Man Ms. Pac-Man or not? Because
that's why you're a liar.
He hath no cherries.
Say, what was he chewing? Is that a dog whistle? I don't know. I don't think David's a fan of the dog.
Pair of.
Maybe.
And now I go for the two dogs.
You're not going to hear this analysis on right-wing media. In many ways, you're not going to hear it on corporate media.
This is exactly what you get from corporate media. You are the same fucking thing, dude. And let me tell you this, no amount. I mean, this dude must think that the semen of Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS is magical, and if he sprays enough of it on the dossier, it's going to suddenly become credible. No, David,
Uncle
not
Bobbity
even
likes
a Fusion
my
GPS,
work.
Glenn Simpson, James Clapper, Bukkake would do anything to help you change the fact that the dossier is a discredited document and that the fucking FBI used it to get FISA warrants. So give me a fucking break.
But those are the revelations that I gleaned from this. Send me your thoughts about what you...
It's not the only thing you glean from this motherfucker. But anyway, moving on to the next video. David Pakman. Oh my God.
Pakman's such a sperm connoisseur that he can tell you to change
So,
your pocket
remember what
once
I
he
was talking
swallows.
about with, well, Dixon is a wannabe corporate shill. He clearly does nothing but support Clinton and Obama. So in this video, it's more of a podcast. There's no video, but he spends a lot of it defending Obama. And now, magically, this is another thing to look out for when I talked about the establishment infiltrating the independent media, particularly on the progressive side. I have no problem if people are of the opinion, like, for example, Sticks, Hacks, and Hammer is of the opinion that he doesn't think Hillary Clinton is going to be prosecuted. Reasonable position. I have no problem with that. But what they argue, people like Ben Dixon, is Hillary Clinton didn't do nothing, or that Hillary Clinton, that people are just obsessed. H.A. Goodman is obsessed with Hillary Clinton, and it's just no point to talk about it. You know, it's not a big deal. These people are just obsessed. Meanwhile, if you watch my channel, you watch H.A.'s channel.
I thought about it.
Almost every day there's something coming out about new revelations, about finding new classified information that Huma Abedin mishandled, Hillary Clinton mishandled. The whole thing with Uranium One, we have a new witness. A fucking indictment was not an indictment, just unsealed. So this idea that it's obsession. So what is he really doing? He's shilling for Hillary Clinton. He's trying to protect Hillary Clinton. And you're going to see this criticism of, well, instead of criticizing Hillary
He likes
Clinton
rom-coms
and pointing out all of the corruption and the continued revelations that are coming out still as breaking news, instead of covering that, guess what you should be doing? Criticizing Trump enough. And if you don't criticize Trump enough, you're this and you're this and you're that. Bullshit. Anyway, let's get into it.
Which carries me over to Hillary Clinton. People get mad at me because I don't have a visceral negative reaction to Hillary Clinton.
No, they get mad at you because you are a Hillary Clinton,
Hillary
Clinton
Ben Dixon
apologist. That's why they're mad at
you. Dan Dixon.
Frenchinator 2, send David your thoughts. If you disagree, you're an alt-right troll. David won't judge you for what you send. That's funny. Yeah, fuck David. Uncle Bobbity, obsessed with seeing that wrinkled shithole burnt. Yes, and locked up.
I'm not that guy, folks. I've never been that guy. And I think you know that. If I could give Donald Trump credit for being this amazing, I really love the way that Donald Trump claps back. I love it because, you know, I'm petty. I'm petty.
You're petty? Why would you admit that? Why would you? You're talking about that like it's a good thing. Pretty accurate.
I like mine.
I love a good clap back.
Dixon,
I mean, I love the way he made Steve Bannon his bitch. It was beautiful. You know, if I can compliment Donald Trump on that, then surely I can give Hillary Clinton credit where credit is due. Likewise,
can't wait.
I could call out when people have just lost their goddamn minds and are going so far above and beyond the criticisms and the critiques, the valid critiques of Hillary Clinton as a candidate.
Yeah, leave poor Hillary alone, guys. Ben Dixon wants to make sure you leave Hillary alone.
I went full on German for that, like a German pastiche.
Totally
Hillary Clinton as a politician,
of course,
and Hillary Clinton as a historical figure in the sense of her role in the Democratic Party and in American politics in general. We, you know, we go beyond those critiques and get into the world of obsessions. The epitome, the apex of that of obsession would be best seen in H.A. Goodman.
The apex of obsession would be best seen in H.A. Goodman. That's amazing. That is amazing. So,
Just call him
Apparently,
Bix.
Ben Dixon would like H.A. Goodman to stop talking about Hillary Clinton. Amazing. And why would Ben have that opinion? So fascinating.
But this is not about H.A. Goodman.
No, but you just made it about him, didn't you, bitch? You just made it about him. Nice passive-aggressive bullshit.
This is about the Clinton Foundation being under investigation.
By the way, you melted like a soft bitch when you debated him. You tried to blame it on, I've been drinking and I just got back from brunch. Bitch, you folded. You fucking folded.
Investigation by the Department of Justice as of, I believe, today or yesterday. The Trump administration has requested the DOJ investigate pay-for-play in the Clinton Foundation.
Yes, and also the email investigation. Don't forget that. And Uranium One. And Huma Abedin forwarding passwords that got hacked by foreign entities. And forwarding classified information to Anthony Weiner's pedophile laptop. And the Iwan scandal. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz. You're trying to cover for a criminal enterprise. And Obama
Needs
with the
video,
unmasked.
Ben.
Why would you defend this?
Here's the reality, right?
It does needs video.
It's very difficult to prove quid pro quo. So let's just get...
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. This is another bullshit argument. Oh, you can't prove it, so why not bother? Listen, anyone that tries to draw attention away from Hillary is suspect. Why? Why can't you just be like, it doesn't interest me, and then move on? That would make sense. Eric H526, fuck Benjamin Dixon. Let's back up here. This is character assessments
Picks
by Eric
Get
H526.
the fuck
Ben
out.
Dixon, he's a shit-talking rambler. Excuse me. Fuck Ben Dixon. He's a shit-talking rambler. Yes, fuck Ben Dixon. I would agree.
He's a shit-talking rambler.
Right. Is there pay for play all over our system? Does that mean that people should get away with it? No. But there's a almost an insurmountable hurdle when it comes down to actually proving quid pro quo.
Well, how about this? Let's throw the fucking quid pro quo out the window. What about all the other shit that she did? We can prosecute her on that shit. How about that? Why aren't you bringing that up? Why are you pretending that the only thing that they can possibly investigate Hillary on is quid pro quo? That's not honest, Ben.
I'm not going to argue right here on the legalities of it. I just want to start with that because we've been here, we've done this, right? We've been here and we've done this. And
wow, we've been here and we've done this. We've already investigated Hillary. Now, where did I hear that bullshit before? Oh, I don't know. Was it on MSNBC? Weird how your narratives perfectly match MSNBC and CNN and the Young Turks. Amazing. Oh, but you're an independent guy,
this is
right?
honestly not about the Clinton Foundation and pay for play.
No.
But what it is honestly about is people's obsessions with the Clintons.
Yeah, it's not the corruption. It is not the clear, demonstrable evidence that we have of the corruption. We're all obsessed. That's the problem. We're the problem. Ben Dixon says that we are the problem. Not Hillary Clinton committing crimes. Us. We are the problems. You are a gaslighting bitch, sir. You are a gaslighting motherfucker. By the way, this is why people don't like you. This is why almost 500 people only watch your video.
This obsession with the Clintons goes across ideological lines. You know, there's going to be quite a few progressives who line up and sign up for this. This is what they want. This is what they want more than to get rid of Donald Trump, who's destroying everything he touches.
Gorilla.
Like, really? He's destroying everything he touches? That's a good one. That's a good line. He's a Godzilla.
You know, who's pushing us back to the dark ages more than getting rid of Donald Trump.
Yes.
Man, people are obsessed with Hillary Clinton.
I know. I was walking down the street the other day and I saw a colored-only bathroom, and I was like, "Oh my God, Trump is fucking really putting his agenda at work here." I'm stunned. I can't believe it.
They just got.
Patrick.
They started selling hoods at Walmart. Did you see that? Right out in the open. You can buy Klan robes and Klan hoods right at Walmart.
Another
Get her.
Patrick.
Fucking ridiculous.
You know, and this is the most true about Republicans, right? This is exactly the type of wag the dog. This is Donald Trump wagging the dog. You know, he doesn't have to start a war, thankfully. He's going to start one just because of his ego and the size of his nuclear button. But he doesn't have to start a war to galvanize his base. America has an obsession, and I can't wait till they go away. Like, you know, I don't wish for anyone to die. But you know what? This obsession with trans.
You wish we would all just go away. Now, let me ask you this. Whose fucking fantasy would it be that we all go away? It would be Hillary Clinton's fantasy. You're out here, you're Hillary Clinton's bitch. You're out here trying to defend her, wanting us to all go away. That's fucking funny.
Their deaths. I guarantee you, 20 years from now, you know, they're old, so maybe Bill will be gone by then. If Hillary's still around, whatever, who knows, whatever. But if they're gone, I guarantee you there's still going to be people obsessed with them to the extent that they're going to try to justify addressing the Clintons even after they're dead.
Well, if they don't get prosecuted, then they will go down as the biggest criminals in the history of American politics that never got prosecuted.
And this is another place, I guess everything
someone said in the chat,
together, right? I usually don't see how
Hillary was literally planning to start a war before the election. I can do the word literally, but anyway, I didn't get on that.
Your brain picks the topics. No, you're fucking masters.
And
your corporate
there's
masters
every reason to
I don't know who it is.
They fire
but someone is telling you, or you
want
a job in corporate media and you look and you see, oh well, CNN and MSNBC, they're defending Hillary, so I'll do it. So I can say, hey, corporate media, I'm a good boy. Can you hire me? Or there's a pack behind him. I don't know which it was. I don't know what it is, but this is bullshit. Frenchinator 2, no, you get the hoods at eBay. Oh, I didn't know that. You can buy clan hoods at eBay. Goddamn Trump. Thanks, Trump.
Example of confirmation bias being the stopping point of critical analysis.
Ben's all about the confirmation bias.
Bitch, there is a overwhelming amount of evidence that you're first of all not addressing because you're not an honest person. This is not about bias. This is about a consistent barrage of evidence that points to Hillary Clinton engaging in criminal behavior. And we want to see her brought to justice. It's very simple. Make Europe strong again. Clinton skated so much thanks to people.
Ben's all about the for Nazi bias. Right?
Absolutely.
It absolutely is. Because if you critically analyze, if you take a look at this, what the Trump administration is trying to do.
Critical analysis? That's funny because the person who's offering critical analysis of this, you just said was a...
You realize this is nothing but smoke and mirrors. There's nothing going to come of it. There's been all kinds of investigations into the Clinton Foundation, into Uranium One.
Do you understand the level of dishonesty that we're dealing with here? That you would say, when we know what happened in the investigations with Peter Strzok, and you can sit there and say, oh, it was investigated with a straight face. That shows you this is a very dishonest motherfucker here. Holy shit. And I know, look, I know he's irrelevant from a view standpoint. But I don't know, maybe he'll get bigger. I don't know. I mean, I think you can make the point that it's kind of stupid.
Give me an A, give me a U, give me a D, give me an I, give me a T. What's that spell?
This is crazy.
There's all kind of inquiries, if not full-blown investigations, and they've turned up nothing because quid pro quo is damn near impossible to prove.
They weren't just investigating that. Again,
if it was possible to prove, then man, lobbyists would, there would be no lobbyists.
Yeah, everyone's corrupt. Donations are donations. Fuck it. Why even try?
It is a hurdle that is intentionally insurmountable because everybody knows the entire system that we operate in is based on pay for play. Any questions? So that if
yeah, why are you such a fucking liar? That's
that being the case, they're chasing after a ghost that they will never catch. They're chasing after a boogeyman that they know damn well it's not going to yield any results other than positive news cycles for them, at least for their base. That's.
Oh yes. Oh, this is the other bullshit. Oh, these people were just in it for money. We're just telling our audience what they want to hear. No, you come here and you show me exactly where I'm wrong in my coverage of any of this shit. Where I am factually wrong when we go over things about Huma Abedin. I mean, you understand that there is actually evidence that's released that shows that, for example, James Comey and Peter Strzok helped Hillary Clinton get off. That's documented. You don't, So, but no. It's we're looking for headlines.
What this is all
nice
about.
Try.
Nothing more, nothing less. This is not about getting to the truth of anything. This is about creating inquiries that are going to try to drive the news cycle away from all of the drama that's happening in the Clinton.
Yes, it's persecution. Hillary Clinton is being persecuted. Underworld. Trump is trying to damage the USA by making good on all the promises other politicians have been making for the years, but Trump is actually He's actually doing it. Evil. Yes, very evil. Very evil, Donald.
I got it on early just to have a little bit of time here because, as I say, there was someone in the chat earlier.
And this is not, this is not a
had to surface sooner or later.
Podcast. I'm not.
This is not a revelatory
called a hack-a-pick
podcast. Yeah, you're goddamn right about that.
You perhaps didn't know.
This is a podcast full of bullshit, and I think I've given enough time to Ben Dixon, and we can actually move on to someone that does matter a tad more. Now, this is a fascinating clip because when I first brought it up, I thought, wait a minute. Joy Reid got pissed off and ended an interview with
clapper.
This pastor is, but this pastor is a joke. I have no respect for this pastor. He's been exposed as a fraud in the past, and somehow she fucks up, and I guess he lets her trigger her. It's going to be, I guess she lets him trigger her.
Blues screen of death, Joy.
Is that a BLM whistle? I don't know. But it's a similar narrative that you're going to see creep into independent media, and that tells you that it's an establishment person talking. Thank you very much, Frenchinator. What's up, Aiden Paladin? All right, so
according
here we
to
go.
Senator
Joy
Dick
Reid.
Durbin, and first reported in the Washington Post, the president's assessment of much of the planet where the majority of people are not white came during an Oval Office meeting with members of Congress to hash out immigration policy.
Won't you come
11
home,
million undocumented
Dick
immigrants
Durbin?
living and working in the United States, and the untold numbers who want to migrate to the U.S., as well as a DACA fix that will decide the fate of 800,000 young immigrants who could face deportation in March if Congress does not reach a deal. And joining me now is Pastor Mark Burns, co-founder and
Mark Burns. She gets defeated. How do you fucking let Mark Burns fuck with you?
CEO of the Now Television Network and a member of the Donald Trump Evangelical Council. And Pastor Burns, first of all, good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Morning. So, what is your reaction to Donald Trump calling the entire African continent, all 54 countries, and significant portions of the Caribbean, including Haiti, shithole countries?
Did he call all of those countries shithole countries? I'm just curious. I don't recall that.
Pardon my language, and I know you're a pastor.
Well, and this is allegedly, he said, and let's just be clear, this is an alleged, because there are two other members of
Shithole's gonna stink. Shithole's gonna what else?
And they denied that the president stated.
They didn't.
They denied, or they
said they did not hear him say that. Are you going to lie about this? This is a pretty easy thing to verify.
They said that it didn't come down the way that it has been portrayed. The president made it very clear.
One second before you go any further. The two senators you're talking about are Tom Cotton and David Perdue of Arkansas and Georgia, respectively. They did not deny that the president said it. They said they could not recall what the president said.
Okay, bitch, they could
Dick
not
Durbin.
recall.
What about
Whatever
him, Joy?
you prefer. They denied it. Okay, so we'll go with your bullshit. They did not recall. Okay, so you don't have, look, I think he said it, so I'm not even disputing this, but why would you deny this is what's amazing. The corporate media narrative was to shame these Republicans for saying that. Oh, the Republicans denied it. Dick Durbin is such a man of honor and integrity. That was the media narrative. But now they're saying that they didn't say that they didn't hear it. Give me a break.
And in fact, no one has denied it. And this is cut 6 from my producers. The White House issued a statement following what happened, and they too did not deny it. Their response to whether or not the president said what he is alleged by Dick Durbin to have said was, certain Washington politicians choose to fight for foreign countries, but President Trump will always fight for the American people. So no one has denied what he said.
That's simply not true. That's simply not true. But again, I think he said it. So, but why like?
30 days in the poodle poop hole.
You're giving Pastor Burns a point.
Well, let's just be clear. Obviously, if Because
No,
again, we
it's
still
not
don't
been
have
denied.
proof.
No one's denied he said
We
it.
don't have proof.
Lindsey
Joy, we don't
Graham
have
also
proof.
said he said it.
Joy, we don't have proof.
Lindsey
Joy, we
Graham.
don't have.
Oh my God. Yes, Lindsey Graham said that, but the two that you just pointed out said they didn't hear it. So they said they didn't hear it. It's amazing. Frenchinator 2, mainstream media. Did he say shithole? Shithole is a bad word. Yeah, I love how the media is constantly saying shithole. It's amazing.
Excuse me, were you in the room? Because the
Were you
people in the room.
Bitch, you weren't in the room, and some of the people in the room said they didn't hear him say that.
One of the runs going to film on location in Haiti
There
to
were
it's
people
not
in the room
shithole.
also said he did not say
No,
it.
there was
I'm
no
going to send a
authority.
message
Have
Wait a
back.
high
minute.
authority
Hold on a
from the
second.
White House
No.
that
Here
he
we
did
go.
not say it.
Really? High
So were
authority
you
from
in
the
the
White House?
room?
No,
So were you in the
the
room?
bottom line is.
So
It'll
can you
be
say
fun.
for a fact, Joy, that he
Yes, I
said
can.
it?
Watching
Lindsey
Conan
Graham.
contract
It's a very
FC
simple question for Joyanne Reed. Did everyone in the room say that he
Live.
said those words? No. Some of the people said he didn't say that, or they didn't hear him say that. And again, I am granting you that he said it. This is such a stupid thing to lie about. Why would you lie about this, Joy Reid? Oh my God, you are retarded. Uncle Bobbity, Lindsey Graham is David Pacman in 50 years. Yeah, well, probably just more. Lindsey Graham is more
Taking
successful.
other people's words for it.
And you're
taking other people's words.
as opposed to your
And
highly placed sources
so
in
I'm
the White
saying
House.
allegedly.
Lindsey
That's all I'm
Graham's
saying.
statement. Lindsey Graham,
Allegedly.
excuse me. Lindsey Graham, who also confirms and confirmed to Tim Scott, his fellow South Carolina senator, that Donald Trump said it, said following comments by the president, which he acknowledges he said, I said my piece directly to him yesterday. The president and all those attending the meeting know what I said and how I feel. I've always believed that America is an idea not defined by its people and its ideals. So Lindsey Graham.
And when Lindsey Graham called countries hellholes, apparently that's totally different somehow. Jacobra, but they are shithole countries. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I've said that if Trump used the word third world, they still would have done this. Frenchinator says shithole with the parentheses
Graham,
around it.
who is one of the most servile supporters of Donald Trump, also says he said it. So let's move on
Well,
from that.
I think it's
Hold on.
cowardly.
Let's
I think
move
it's
on from
cowardly.
that.
Yeah, let's move on. because
Shithole
I lied
versus
about my
sewers,
point, and
as
I'm
in
gonna try to
Rome.
cover over
Let's
that
move
as
on from
much-
that.
If he said it, they should
What
come out
is
and say
your
he said it.
response? I agree with that. They absolutely are cowardly for not saying it to cameras.
You just said that that's not what happened, and now you're saying that they were cowardly for not saying it. Which is it? This is why this is such a hilarious clip. She's getting her ass kicked by one of the most discredited motherfuckers in existence. Amazing.
As Dick Durbin did. Now let's get to the substance of it. What are your thoughts on the President of the United States referring to the 54 countries on the African continent, Haiti, and other countries as shithole countries? Your response to that?
Well, first of all, it would be preposterous if it was said. I mean, I would disagree wholeheartedly to even call these countries, Nigeria, African countries, plenty of countries that are not S-hole countries. I mean, so I would completely disagree, disavow any type of a language that is spoken. That's not how I would speak, and I wouldn't want to be connected to people who would talk like that. But let's just get to the real heart of the matter.
But you are connected to the president because you're on his evangelical council.
His words and not his deeds. The fact is, there are many of those countries like Haiti who are in destitute. They're in the worst situations because of governments that are not taking care of their own people. Now, we're talking about people leaving their own country and coming to America, when in reality, President Trump clearly ran on a Make America Great Again policy, which is why he won. Americans want people, if they do come to America, to offer something that's going to be better for America, not simply send people who, because of their weak, broken governments, dishonorable in a lot of ways, governments in some of these countries who are not taking care of their own people. The Bible says in 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse number 8, that a person is worse than an infidel when they refuse to take care of their own people, of their own kind. And so I just believe President Trump was simply saying, it is clear that we loved our neighbor. People say, well, Pastor, what about loved our neighbor? Well, of course, we loved our neighbor, which is why we love them a lot. We send hundreds of millions of dollars of aid to many of these countries, and these corrupt governments and corrupt leaders are taking advantage of the people that are there. Even the Clintons, who allegedly stole millions and millions of dollars from the earthquake relief fund.
Now that's true. That's true. That's actually a valid thing to bring up about Haiti, and of course they're going to deny it because Joy Reid.
I see you looking crazy, Joy. So everybody can do a quick meme.
I'm just listening
so they can do a quick meme and say, "Look what Joy looks like on television."
So,
but
yeah, don't worry, we'll do that.
the fact of the matter is, we do love our neighbor. We do help. We don't leave people destitute. We send, and those millions of dollars could be coming to America to help other black people, other minorities
can I
in
get
our
a word
own
in
country.
edgewise? Can I get a word in edgewise on A.M.
It is your
Burns?
show.
Okay, good.
It is your show.
So you quoted, I want to unpack a couple of things you said. You quoted 1 Timothy 5-8, and that verse refers to a man who would not take care of his own family and immediate family. There's another verse in the Bible, and I'm a church girl. All right, I used to teach Sunday school back in Denver, Colorado when I was in high school.
I can't wait. We're
So
bringing
I love
out
the Bible.
verses. Oh, we're bringing out Bible verses. How do you lose to this motherfucker? How do you... Oh, this is going to be amazing. Make Europe strong again. Lindsay, conservative. Graham, reliable source. Not. Yeah, and again, he referred to countries as hellholes, but somehow that's different.
More church when you're on this television show.
Hold on a second. No, we're going to have church this morning. I have a pastor on, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quote the word of the Lord. Isaiah 10:2.
Oh, yeah. If you're vomiting at this point, that's okay. I already watched it, so, but yeah, if you're vomiting at this point,
in the Bible says, "Woe to those who enact evil statutes and to those who constantly record unjust decisions, so as to deprive the needy of justice and rob the poor of my people of their rights, so that widows may be their spoil and that they may plunder orphans." The Bible says a lot about caring for others and widows and orphans. The Bible verse you talked about, talking about caring for one's own family and immediate family, this Bible verse that is repeated much more in the Bible talks about caring for the least of these and widows and orphans. So you talked about, hey, hold on a second. So you talked.
So it's very simple. If you would like to use a Bible to make the point that you should help all of the citizens of the world, then you have to answer some questions. If you want to be taken serious, if you want to be intellectually honest, and that is, are there infinite resources in the United States? Can you take in everyone? Obviously, the answer to those questions is no, unless you're completely fucking retarded. So obviously, you're going to have to figure out a way to bring in a certain amount of people, and you're not going to be able to bring in everyone. Now, people like Joy Reid, they don't think about, well, they deliberately don't bring those things up because they're not in support of their narrative. So they just pretend, hey, I'm a virtuous person. I'd like to bring everyone in. That makes me great, and that makes me sleep at night. Meanwhile, with other countries like Germany that do have open borders policies, the citizens are getting absolutely shit on and are living in horrendous conditions. But people like Joy Reid and the politicians, they don't care because they don't have to deal with the conditions. So they just simply sleep well at night thinking they're virtuous people. Saddle Tramp says, just here to comment, bomb, and throw HB some cheddar. Well, thank you very much, Saddle Tramp. I appreciate that. I like your avatar with the gun. Uncle Bobbity, my religious dick is larger than yours. Yeah, that's basically what she's doing there. She's pulling out the big dick Bible.
About
basically.
Haiti, and specifically being a country that's not caring for its own people and that it has a government that's corrupt and a system that's broken, then how can you, as a man of God, justify sending people back to such a country? If the country is so broken, then how can you, as a man of God, justify sending people back to that country?
This is not about sending people back to the country.
That's what Donald Trump's policy is.
What we're
you said,
talking
look at
about
his deeds.
Also, very satanic policy, very unbiblical policy. Barack Obama, also a very satanic, unbiblical. According to her standard, Barack Obama would also be a very unbiblical person.
The D's
Answer
is the African American. The D's are this.
Nope.
Words
Answer
are
my
D's.
question first.
African American unemployment in America is at an all-time.
Joy Reid doesn't give a shit about African American unemployment.
We're talking about sending African Americans to Haiti. We're talking about.
We're talking about taking care of America first. Joy, this is
because I'm going to get an answer to my question before you do another soliloquy.
I cannot fucking believe that she is getting triggered by Pastor Mark Burns. This is fucking pathetic. Jacob are measuring dicks with a black man bed plan.
I understand that, Joy. This is the United States of America.
Justify?
He knows he's triggering her, and he's not going to stop.
You're the one who said that this is about Trump's deeds. Trump's deed is to revoke TPS and send Haitians back to Haiti, a country you said is ill-equipped to take care of its own people. How do you justify
it is not
that?
the responsibility of the United States of America to be the United States of the global world. This is the United States of America. You, Joy,
so what you're saying,
America.
okay, so
the
what
president
you're saying,
of the United States' job, his vow and oath was to protect and to defend the Constitution of the United States and the citizens of the United States. Now, we are not leaving those people to die. We are sending aid.
Them to. You're sending them to
die. I know.
We're sending all those people to die. That's a new one. I wasn't aware of that. That 11 million people are going to die. Well, of course, people are going to die. That's the Democratic talking point. Uncle Bobbity, answer my question first. Is she Sargon? Good one. Frenchinator 2, these countries are shitholes. Don't call them shitholes. Yes, apparently you can call them hellholes. Obama called it a hellhole, called Libya a hellhole. I forget what country. I think it was Mexico or Central America. Lindsey Graham called it a hellhole. You can say hellhole.
We prove it's
That's okay. But you use the word shit, and therefore not only are you racist, but you are making a commentary about the entire world
and
the entire history of white people's relationships with black people, and you're making a commentary on slavery.
Yeah, I know, but I'm in this lifeboat too. Same book, why?
Hold on, no, you don't have to ask me questions because when I'm on AM Burns, you can ask whatever you want.
He is steamrolling her.
The millions of dollars that we send to Haiti and those other countries. Wouldn't that money do good here in America? Wouldn't that money do good for other African Americans? Let's talk about.
Again, Mark Burns, she does not give a fuck about black people. Are you kidding me? You are preaching to the wrong person. For posterity, did you cover the Islamophobia hoax in Canada? I didn't. This is the problem. If I covered every hoax, hate crime, I would cover nothing else. It would be like, you know, if I covered every sexual allegation. Like, yeah. Most of the mainstream hate crimes turn out to be hoaxes. There was a huge one in Canada that Trudeau ate up, and it turned out to be a hoax.
Hold on a second.
Let's talk about the black fathers.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the black single moms in America.
Are you then advocating for universal health care to make sure that those black mothers and fathers in this country have universal health care?
Let's talk about the NFL mothers of the NFL players who are not getting their money.
Are you kidding?
Let's talk about the mothers. Yes, they're black mothers. NFL mothers.
No, NFL mothers. You can't even. Whatever.
What does it have to do with universal health care?
We're talking about black people in America. Let's talk about black people in America. We're talking about black people in Haiti. Let's talk about black people in America. And there is one thing that the president and I do disagree. There's one thing that the president and I do disagree with.
There is one thing.
Yes, I disagree that I don't think we need more, in reference to his Norwegian immigration policy, I don't think we need any more white liberals coming to America. I think we need to share it all. And when we open the door, as we open the door, we don't need more white liberals coming to this country. So
this won't improve anyone's intelligence quotient, Dr.
Really. Norwegians can stay where they at. So, well, Norwegians have been quite clear that they don't want to come here and give up their universal health care. I have one more country. I know where I live. One last country. I'm going to ask you one more question and attempt to get an answer to it. You know what? I'm one of them, so I happen to know that there are plenty of black people here.
So am I.
Oh yeah, you're one of them. You don't live in an ivory tower.
And they're suffering, Joy. So we're talking about Haiti.
What is the role?
President Trump.
I'm going to give you one more chance to answer my question, and then we're going to be done here because you're actually wasting my time when you talk over me.
Joy,
and
you're
don't answer my
time when you're not talking.
Oh, well, then if I'm wasting your time, then goodbye. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, Joy. Bye-bye.
How do you lose to Mark Burns? How do you do that? Oh my God. What the fuck? That's how bad she is. She loses to Mark Burns. I don't like Mark Burns at all, but, you know, good job there. Zasu July, how awful that Joy Reid is implying that these places will kill people. Aren't they wonderful places to live? Yeah, if they're not shitholes, then why do you care if people are getting sent back? That's funny. That is funny. It's rude to call a country a shithole. Okay, fine. It is rude. Okay, I'll give you that. But this is the thing. Trump is the mirror to the establishment. So
exact fucking mundo.
Are going to criticize Trump.
She was smoked with the jawbone up an ass.
Frenchinator 2. I have no idea. Oh, this is the meme. Do you know the way? I do not know the way. I don't know the accent either. I do not know the way. No, I don't know the way. You should ask Aiden Paladin. Uncle Bobbity, Mark Burns is a motherfucking legend for this. Yeah, he just fucking steamrolled her and then got her to give up at the end. Very, very funny to watch. All right, going to go into the break, and then the next section, the next block is going to be the kind of laid-back, more fun block. Going to do old school style and do some articles that are more crazy or funny like we did the other night. So I'll be back in about 15, 20 minutes.
So, Hard Bastard's going on break. I'm going to pause this. Not pause it. I'm going to keep it streaming through. I'll leave it running. I'm going to turn the audio off for a few moments. And this is set to be on top. Nothing happening in my chat. Nothing happening yet, hey? Cool. Not worried. It's been streaming well for the first hour. What have I got to talk about tonight? Well, I think I'll set this not to be on top for a minute. Stemming from recently, multidimensional mapping and 2D projections. This comes from a discussion myself and Nun had. I was thinking about maybe doing something with this in Blender. And there was ideas I remember that Nun provided. First, in terms of how to think about the five-sided pattern which was in the Discordian map. What I think of as the Discordian map. I'll show you what I mean. Historia, Discordia, this thing. We could think about this rather than being in a 2D form, in a 2D flat projection. We could think about all of these as being locations in a real space, but in 5 dimensions instead. And what would those extra dimensions come from? I mean, there would be 3 dimensions in space. It could be up or down off the page would be the added 3rd dimension. But also a 4th dimension time. You could be in different places at different times. The same 3, like a same location in 3-dimensional space, or some object within it, or some collection within it. And what would the 5th one be? Allow for 3D in space, add 1 dimension for time, add 1 dimension for the next thing. What's I? I could add another dimension for I, the imaginary number. Some of these groups don't exist. Although I'll be damned if I didn't find the Cthulhu Society in the last day or two. This exists and still exists, but it's listed under the Anarchist Association. And I'm not quite sure I understand that yet, other than, well, maybe it's a hangover from pagan days. That's the way of looking at it. Because it's pagan, it's under the Anarchist Association and not under something like this up here. Either way, this isn't part of the imaginary, neither is this. But this, the Combine and the Combine's fog machine, these are both very definitely imaginary. Part of the imaginary construct, or construction, or dimension. What other parts are part of the imaginary construction? This one belongs in time, the Holy Vim, but also is imaginary. Has an imaginary component. Students for a Democratic Society is and can only be right now considered imaginary. Although in time it was more physically in space. Yippie's imaginary. Totally imaginary and under the anarchists for that reason. When we do a total of these available dimensions, I find that this document at least allows me to track 5. I'm a wizard now. It allows me to at least track 5 multi-dimensional mapping. Total of 5 if I go 3 plus 1 plus 1 for 5. But calculus would consider this addition in a different manner. They would consider this as a product rather than a simple addition. Really, the only time that I can do the simple, like algebra of going 3 plus 1 plus 1. The only time I'd ever do that is when I'm summing it up, so to speak, to describe this, the construction itself. It's 5D and its dimensions are, and the way that they operate together will give us this. I can use chess as an illustration. Let the imaginary number be the sum total of moves any given piece in time, returns also a list of potential future moves given position in time. So that's how the calculus would be for the chess 5D game. 4D chess is not that amazing. 5D chess is what you have to be able to do to play 4D chess well. Where do you get 5D information? You get it from imaginary numbers. You only need one dimension for it. The dimension could be as big as you need it to be. And functions inside of this imaginary dimension that use the imaginary component can exist in imaginary space too. They don't need to be defined in reality. They can exist in imaginary space. I.e., a person's knowledge of the rules provides for the list of potential future moves that the I number gives you. Funny idea? Very, very simple to sum it up that way. Maybe I should do this with graphic elements. Maybe this would be a better thing. If you like this description, let me know below. I could try describing that one again too. You have at the beginning of a chess game, all the pieces are on a 64 block grid, 8 by 8. And there are black and white spaces, and the pieces on either side are all black and all white. And they each occupy 16 positions out of the possible 64. Right? So at the very start of the game, the I for any given piece is definitive. There should be a pawn on all of the second rank on either side. So all of rank 2 or rank 7. And then there'll be rooks in the corners. So you can tell one rook from the other by giving one number to the other. And that's what it is to formalize the game of chess. The I value, the imaginary number, is in itself another dimension. Another dimension of meaning that sits on top of, doesn't sit on top of, but interacts with the way that those pieces will be moving in the future of the game in 3D space. Even though it's kind of limited to 2D, it's really a 3D description. It's this X component, this Y component, and it's at a certain depth, which is always at the plane of the game field, right? The playing field, the board. The time component is what move of the game you're in. And in the game of chess, you haven't got any choice but to go forward in time, I suppose, as life. So the first move will be what it is, the second move will be what it is. There's a pair of moves, though, for every step in time. From the time you move once to the time you move again, your opponent will also move, which gives you which gives you like a better tick rate for time than a simple linear 1 1 1 1. There's a move, and then there's a move in response, or maybe not in response. The 4D chess game is what made the name Magnus Carlsen famous. And the description that he was given at a very young age was, he makes these weird moves early in the game, and they turn out to be eerily prescient later. Was that a lucky move, or had he well considered this a long time previous and was waiting for a particular trap to be sprung? I'm keeping an eye on the chat over in the corner here from Hard Bastard. I like fast-paced chat. I really do. But it is also frustrating at times. Mocking Boo, Mocking Bow, and Mocking Board. I was thinking about going onto Facebook tonight and making a confessions episode. Maybe I'll do that later. I won't do that tonight. But I do have another idea for confessional material. Well, I kind of got to go on Facebook if I'm going to make confession, really make proper confession for what I've been up to lately. But this has to do with the Discordian calendar episode yesterday. This is a version of the same calendar I devised many's the year back. And after first drawing one up and sticking it on the wall, not in this form, this was the second form I came up with. And it was during this form that I decided, well, between the one that I put on the wall and this one, that I decided, I'm going to keep a calendar as a daily listing in this form. After the first one on the wall, which was a series of little small square blocks, I said, no, this needs to be more like a listing, a chronology calendar, or a calendar that you would consult maybe in some kind of a textbook, so that there's page after page with listings which pertain to specific entries. So the week number is here on the side, and then there's a day number next to it, and that repeats over and over. Then there's a space for information on the day. The day of the month, which I determined 15 months at that time, since I've decided on 10 as well. 10 is doable. Discordians had 5 seasons, so the 10 months makes sense with the 5 seasons bit. Here's something that's really neat to notice because of this 15-month thing. 15 months have about 5 weeks in them each. 5 times 5 for 25. So you can have a short month of 25 days, or you can have a long month of 37 days. And it would be less than 25 if you do it that way. I mean, 15 times 25 is more than 365. So you need to allow for a couple days here or there, the same as the old Julian/Gregorian system did. But here's the thing that I noticed coincided early on. I have a month starting in and around the 1st of November called Ancestors. Ye Old New Year's Day is November 1st. It's currently called All Saints' Day. That's why I called the month Ancestors. The next month, starting at around week 58, is Batten the Hatches. 22 days. 23 days in the last one. A full 25 days follows for the month of Sundays, which corresponds with the end of December, well, midway through December, about the Ides of December, through to the period of Earth's closest approach to the sun. The month of Sundays is that period. And it's a holiday period. We have stars in the sky, Stibbs Eve, Winter Solstice, Tibbs Eve, Turkey Days, Wrestling Day, highly overpriced tickets night, yet another turkey day, ye old throw away your tree day, try the ham day. Rubicon Day was a week and a couple days ago. Rubicon Day. We also have Raw Day coming up at the end of this week, 71's Day. Who is the great magician that makes the grass green? Raw Day. But hey, if I go right to the beginning here, you'll notice we've passed Old New Year's Day in November at the beginning of Ancestors, through Batten the Hatches, through the month of Sundays, through the dead of winter. And here in the month of Sundays is where we currently call New Year at Chaos 1, January 1. So I offset my calendar by 32 days when I first devised it, and set the New Year's Day 00 at February 2nd. The number one reason for me to do so was when I was picking dates on the calendar, I found this one, 8 Tuesday, Sic Semper Tyrannis, Discord the 1st, March 15. Yes, 8 Tuesday. Perfect solution. And I practiced a lot more elaborate. I had more elaborate ideas that I still haven't got entirely finished yet. So each of these different years have a quarter feast day. On days that are, well, on Tuesday, 3's Day, 4's Day, 5's Day, there would be a quarter feast day. This basically is a short month, an intercalary interspersed month for festival days at the 1st of February, like the first week of February. Pungent Day, Prickle Prickle, Setting Orange, Sweet Morn, Boon Time. That's Discordian to Revised Iridian Concordance. We're coming up on Kale Flux at the early part of the year. But even more important, last night we were reading something that took, and it was, what was it they called it? A disco politic, right. Disco Flux this year is, well, it's on May 3rd is Disco Flux. I have a funny feeling this is going to be a big year for the Disco Flux thing. Call it a hunch. Plank length aggressions. Single slit you later. Manny Lenz. When you try to pin down something using a single slit experiment, or the Planck length, long discussion, sideways. Disco Flux this year, because of the document I read last night, which was the one specifically on, it was done by the group for Discord. There was not Discordian. How did they describe themselves? It's a PDF I looked at. I found some of it very much I found some of it very disagreeable, other things very agreeable. That's the problem. It's a little bit of both, or a lot of both. Cracker is an offensive. Barrel of monkeys causes all sorts of problems. Cracker Barrel? Oh, they must be, the show must have resumed. So yeah, I got a funny feeling whoever they are, they're going to get started again. They're going to get started up around about May. They're going to be forced to contend with the year.
All right, let's see here. Harris also notes that the school harassment policy itself appears to be consistent with the First Amendment and how the Supreme Court has defined misconduct. However, she did note that there was a tension between the school's otherwise acceptable harassment policy and the statements made by outgoing General Counsel Lee Tyner, whose comments inspired the initial article by Inside Higher Ed. Some people would say you can't punish a one-off racial slur because it's not pervasive. Tyner told Inside Higher Education, adding that his job is to stop them from doing it, and again, before it becomes pervasive. Harris explained that there is a tension between the policy itself and this comment by the outgoing general counsel, explaining that Tyner's comment is inconsistent with the plain language of the policy, because generally speaking, a one-off remark is not going to rise to the level of something so severe, pervasive and objectively offensive that it effectively denies the victim access. Harris also noted the school has a green rating from fire indicators.
Pervasive is the MSM hyperbolates.
With the First Amendment. Well, not anymore, because this policy is potentially punishing people for microaggressions. So there does seem to be some blazers in the chat. I'm telling you, if you have access to it, there's this shit called Incognito. I think it's the name of the company. This is out of a California place, and there's this what is it? It's an extract. It's like a vape pen with an extract, and it's called Skittles, but with two Z's, a Z at the beginning and the Z at the end. Holy shit, man! This stuff is just, it's great. It's clear-headed. You're not, it's invigorating, and it tastes like candy. Like, it's amazing. Ethan Johnson, valid, I'm a Vikings fan, but I know you're an NFL fan, so I'm wondering what you thought of the last play yesterday. Insanity. You know, yesterday's, well, both days, Saturday and Sunday, the playoffs were amazing. It's why people watch football. Yeah, the last time I saw something that crazy was the Music City Miracle in, what was that, 99? So almost 18 years ago.
Candy
the last
Hoffman.
time I saw a play like that. That was, I thought initially, I forget who caught the ball, but initially when he caught it, I was like, oh shit, he goes out of bounds, he has enough, they might kick a long field goal and win it. And then he just ran, and I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? That was amazing. I cannot imagine what that would have been like as a Vikings fan. Now you got to play the Eagles.
JR Bobbity Dobbs.
All right, let's move on here to the next one. This is a bit of a Riley Dennis special. She's the first person that I am aware of, he, she, whatever you'd like to address them as, brought up the idea of, if you're a guy and you don't want to date a trans woman or person, then you are homophobic or transphobic. India Willoughby, is it discriminatory to refuse to date a trans woman? I'd like to make my answer very clear. I don't give a fuck because I'm going to date whoever the fuck I want. Kiss my goddamn ass. Marsupial Gamer, I highly recommend THC gummies. One will fuck you up. The edibles, I have a, I'm going to be very careful with the edibles. I don't have access to edibles at this point. I probably could actually get them, but I'm telling you, man, I'm sold on this pen right now. This pen is fucking ridiculous. It's a total game changer. Okay, a reality television program kicked off a debate. This is on BBC. This is reaching the mainstream. This isn't just some crazy-ass giant Adam's apple-looking motherfucker on YouTube. This is the mainstream. Of course, in the conquered country of Britain. But still, you know this shit can mainstream in America. A reality television program. And this is the thing. I don't mind if a show about trans people mainstreams. I have no issue with that. What I have an issue with is people telling us that if we aren't interested in someone with a cock, then we're transphobic. That's ridiculous. You know, it's funny. It's the exact same thing the conservative Christians who advocated for the what was that shit? The you know, the changing, the curing of homosexuality programs. This is the same thing. You are telling someone that their sexuality is wrong because they don't agree with you. It's like, it's incredible. Oh. A reality television program kicked off a debate about whether it's discriminatory or transphobic to refuse to date a transsexual person. The argument started on UK reality television show Celebrity Big Brother, where minor celebrities are locked into a studio made to look like a house, then filmed 24/7. As might be expected in such a situation, tensions run high and conversations can be fractious. One of the housemates is India Willoughby, a TV journalist who has an established career as a man before transitioning to becoming a woman. Willoughby asked her housemates about their dating preferences, and the resulting conversation kicked off a social media storm. "Would you go out with a transsexual woman?" she queried. "I believe it's your choice. I would choose not to," replied the R&B singer Genuine. "That doesn't make me scared." "You would go out with a woman?" Willoughby asked. "Yes, but you wouldn't go out with a transsexual woman?" "No." The conversation rumbled on. When Willoughby suggested, "Let's have a kiss," Genuine replied no and leaned away from her. This is sexual bullying on behalf of Willoughby, frankly. I mean, he already told you no, and now you're trying to kiss him? That's fucking bullying. Stop. I don't give a fuck who you are. Don't do that shit. Can you imagine if he would have done this, a black dude on a white woman? Oh my God. That would have been the end of it. India was later seen telling another guest that all this superficial stuff that you are a woman and that all sounds great and it's the right thing to say, but it makes no difference if people don't believe it. That's the problem. You might be onto something there. You might be onto something. But you can't tell us that we can't be polite. I'll be polite, but don't ask more of me, because I'll tell you to kiss my ass. While some housemates defended Genuine's refusal to date a transsexual woman as a preference, the issue divided the audience on Twitter. The debate has continued to reverberate inside the house. Viewers of the program vote off guests one at a time until a winner is selected. And on Friday, India Willoughby is one of two celebrities facing a vote and possible eviction. I wonder what happened. Some viewers claim Genuine rebuffing the notion of dating a trans woman was discrimination or transphobia, dislike or fear of transgender people. This person said, "If you have a sexual preference that discriminates against transgender men or transgender women, you are transphobic. That is a fact." All right, I'm transphobic. I accept it. I'm transphobic. I give zero fucks. So now that we've settled that, you now know Hard Bastard is a transphobic motherfucker because I have dating preferences that don't include sucking cock and letting someone fuck me in the ass with it. Okay? So I'm transphobic. Amazing. Amazing. And even though I was like, I would totally fuck, what the hell was her name? Janet Mock. I was like, I'd fuck Janet Mock. But Janet Mock has transitioned. Not every trans person has transitioned. And so this is the argument that Riley Dennis is making, that if a woman has a cock, she's still a woman and you should still fuck her, even though, yeah, I'm not a fan of cocks. I will make the hard pass. You guys are crazy with this shit. But others backed the preference argument and said the singer was entitled to state his dating choices without being criticized. Out of the question, Frank Bullitt, out of the question. Tsunami Imani, why is hashtag CB India trying to make Genuine look bad for saying he wouldn't date a trans woman? Does he have to? Is he not allowed to make choices that work for him? Or are you the only one allowed to do that, India? Good question. Nice. The debate reverberated on other social media networks and outside of the UK as well. A video from New York radio DJ Charlemagne the God defending Genuine's stance as a preference has since been viewed more than 350,000 times on YouTube. Divided opinions. The super chat that I missed, I apologize. If you could, what is it called? Quote it. I will read it. Divided opinions. I do not want to call it transphobic, says Miss Sahara, a transgender woman who works as a model and songwriter. When someone is transphobic, they don't sit next to them. Genuine was having a very comfortable conversation with India. That's fine. What is transphobia? If they are afraid of trans people, if you are excluding trans women from womanhood, then you're being transphobic. Oh my goodness gracious. What Genuine said was that of an ignorant person who has not been with a trans woman before. It was more of an ignorance fed by media that often depicts trans women in a sensationalized way with strong bone structure and husky low baritone voices. The majority of straight men are worried about what society thinks of them if they date a trans woman, she says. Toxic masculinity makes them violent and rude about their attraction. Oh, yes. When you don't fancy someone, you should talk about their characteristics. It's not as black and white as many people think it is, because whether you're attracted to someone or not is about being attracted to a fellow human being. No, that's bullshit. No, there are certain parts that you must have, and if you don't have them, it's a deal breaker. It's one of the reasons that I've said I wouldn't fuck Blair White. Blair White is hot. Blair White, I mean, she's just hot. But, or again, people that are like, well, it's he, whatever. That's fine. Either way, I don't give a shit. Yeah, there's a difference. Janet Mock has transitioned. Blair White hasn't. Blair White can do whatever they want. But I'm saying, like, so that's a definite preference there. And it's amazing that I would still be considered transphobic. I'm telling you, though, look at Janet Mock. I mean, I can't help it. What do you want from me?
What?
Anyway, let's continue. And traps shouldn't be gay, but they are. No. Wait, what is it? Aiden is in the chat. Traps are not gay, but they should be, is my position, because the scientific research seems to indicate that they're not gay. Now, that is a conclusion that baffles me, and so therefore that's why I say I don't like it. But I'm not going to deny science. I'm not going to become a trap creationist. So I will just go along. I will go along, Jerry. I will go along with the idea that traps are not gay, but they should be, because they have dicks. I think that's logical.
Creator of traps, traps creationism.
Okay, let's proceed here. See, as we have the quote. Let me see the quotes here. Sorry about the missing the super chat. You can requote yourself. I'm in a bit of a altered state here, so sorry if I missed them. All right, let's get back to this. The majority of... Oh, no, I read that. However, Dr. Ladea Timmons, who specializes...
God made traps to
is
somebody.
The super chat? I thought she was a smoker or had a throat infection, but when she lifted
God
up her
saw
skirt, she
that
scored an erection.
the traps
Is that from a song? That's
were
interesting.
passable, if not good. So he let them open a bar.
So this doctor, who specializes in sexual orientation, and Gender Identity at King's College London describes the comments as transphobic. Sexual
Francis
attraction
Lancer
is a response to
says,
stimuli that can
hear
be
about
based
Faith
on any
Goldie.
number of
I'm
things.
going to say,
For
what
example,
now?
Waist to hip ratio, certain behaviors, or breast size, Dr. Timmons says. If you have a trans woman who transitions very early on, she may be physically identical to a cis woman at a certain level. That's the other thing with Janet Mock. She did transition like when she was a kid. He was a kid, whatever. As a cis
What
woman,
about Faith? She's not a dude, too.
Someone whose gender identity matches the one they were born with. There are hormonal sweet spots where trans women can transition to be effectively indistinguishable at a certain level from cisgender women outside of the uterus, Dr. Timmons says. So being unwilling to date on the basis of someone being trans rather than on the basis of individual stimuli is something I would personally call transphobic. You can kiss my ass. This is a philosophical rather than empirical. Really, bitch? Oh, you mean to tell me that instead of going with empirical, you're going to go with philosophical? I'm stunned. I'm so stunned. That's how you walk. That's how you dance your bullshit dance. That's how you do it. That's how you're in the mental gymnastics Olympics, and that's how you do it, by saying shit like this. This is a philosophical rather than empirical discussion. Everything's empirical, bitch. Stop it. That's why. And there is not a lot of nuanced research in this area yet. Oh, I can't wait to find out what the nuanced research has to say. Grouping all transgender women as the same and all cisgender women as the same is effectively prejudiced. Oh, my God. No one owes you anything.
Oh, fuck me. Francis says, you know, she's all Christian and shit. She cheated on her fiancé, got pregnant, then deleted all her media.
Crazy bullshit.
Are you serious?
Kevin Sorbo was banned from the East Coast
Comic
Con because he pals with Sean Hannity. Horrible gamer. If the Crocodile Dundee test comes out positive, I don't date them.
You mean lately?
I don't remember the Crocodile Dundee test. Or you mean you're pulling out your dick and they go, well, that's
before
not a dick.
or after the social media?
Yeah, that would be a fleeing situation. When you need to flee, I would be fleeing. Not just running, straight out fleeing. Kevin Sorbo banned. East Coast Comic-Con promoter Cliff Galbraith bragged on Facebook about turning Kevin Sorbo away from Comic-Con in New Jersey this year based on Sorbo's relationship with conservative talk show host Sean Hannity.
No Sorbo, no Satan.
That's ridiculous. The left-wing crowd began to cheer over the exclusion of someone based on political beliefs and having wrong associates. Sorbo, a well-known figure at Comic-Con for his role in Hercules, is now going to suffer exclusion based on nothing more than a common belief among leftists that people who believe in less government and lower taxes and who are pro-life and pro-God are dangerous scourge and must be discriminated against as a matter of principle. The lovely lefties. I
found Faith tough to believe because her lips.
Sorbo told PJM, too bad it's all a one-way street for them. They need their little safe spaces because I'm too scary for them. Yeah, how the fuck is Kevin Sorbo too scary for you? I would love to debate these socialists who hate people who work hard for a living and want big government to baby them through their pathetic lives. You're giving Kevin Sorbo the win. How do you do this? This dude was in these fucking ridiculous movies where like the kid comes to school and battles an atheist and changes everything into the word of Jesus and all this bullshit. You just martyred him and you made him an actual victim. Good job, left. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. This is the world now. No Democrats can be friends with a Republican because there are no more Republicans, only Nazis and Nazi sympathizers. Yep, that's what Ben Dixon was talking about. And this page just reloaded out of nowhere. Or did that even just happen? Maybe I just imagined it. Where was that? Democrats who want to elevate themselves in the eyes of the left-wing peanut gallery need only to publicly denounce the nearest Nazi or the guy who likes low taxes and small government, ban him from something and take away his rights in some way, and there will be roundly cheered and praised.
Sorbet, much better for you.
The comics community is in serious trouble. The SJW lynch mobs have taken over the industry and have pushed out any person with any sense What is left now are the drooling anti-reason sycophants marching in lockstep with far-left ideologues. This is reflected in comics like G.I. Joe, where the comic writer Aubrey Sitterson, I'll go with Shitterson, turned a much-loved character into an overweight lesbian. Thankfully, she was fired after a big outcry from fans. It seems that the writers and artists at Marvel and DC Comics are having a tougher time pulling their SJW trickery in comics with watchful fans like the Diversity in Comics
Sorbo to the
YouTube
left of
channel
me, Cameron to the right. Here I am throwing
battery
poop at Ray
despite
Comfort.
threats of violence against the creator. I watch his videos. I highly recommend it. The convention communities are becoming more and more hostile to fans who object to the politicization of their favorite entertainment. Conservative sci-fi author John Del Arraz has adopted the moniker of the most dangerous voice in science fiction after Worldcon banned him from their event last year. His only crime seems to be a plan to wear a body cam in order to record the acts of bullying or violence threatened by other convention goers. Worldcon banned him from a public event upon the belief that he might upset someone. Having an icky conservative environment at the super exclusive safe space conventions have become for
dose yourself. I said that to our
allowing someone with alternative
420
viewpoints to mingle with the elite and virtuous is simply not tolerable to the left and requires banning and silencing. It's only a matter of time until Republicans can't eat in diners or order cakes or in coffee shops owned by rabid leftists. Oh wait, that's already true. That happened. The leftists kicked Christians out of their coffee shop. Zazu July, I'm not licking toads, Homer Simpson. Yes, I saw a show, what is it called, on Vice, that guy, it's like Anderson's Pharmacopoeia or something like that, or that's not his name, I forget his name. Good show about drugs, and they were taking those frogs and smoking what came out of them, and it looked like a horrific trip, but each his own, if that's what you want to do.
Didn't quite get there.
Zazu July. The acronym SJW stands for Social Justice Warrior, has run its course and needs to be replaced with a more appropriate acronym, SIW. These people are social injustice warriors, always fighting for the right to discriminate against someone they hate. It's time to protect civil rights of Republicans, conservatives, and libertarians. Their rights continue to be violated on a daily basis by the vile left that hates our Constitution and is trying to oppress an entire group of people based on nothing but
Manny Lane says adults should not be emotionally involved with fiction. There, I said it. I said back to Manny Lane's idealism makes the imaginary dimension more compelling.
How does the left treat them? Ask Blair White, conservative, transgender, Trump supporter. I am not sure. What was the end verdict on whether that was a real video or not? I don't remember. I don't really care. I didn't watch it, so I don't.
Lots of people responding to him.
Probably going to get attacked in Hollywood wearing a Trump hat. Still doesn't mean it was real, though. So I don't know. Was it real? Was it fake? If you know, I guess you can mention it in the chat. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Scholars claim that statistics serve white racial interests. Statistics are racist. Yeah, statistics.
There's also
Three British professors recently claimed that statistic analyses have been weaponized to serve white racial interests.
It's also the question of why a dramatic show or play
led by David Gilbourne, a professor at the
for a
University
more
of Birmingham.
stable society.
The professors argue that math serves white interests because it can frequently encode racist perspectives beneath the facade of supposed quantitative objectivity. Contrary to popular belief and the assertions of many quantitative researchers, numbers are neither objective nor colorblind. Gilbourne and his team assert in their article for the journal Race, Ethnicity, and Education. To address the racism numbers reinforce, the professors advocate for the adoption of QuantCrit, I have no idea what this word is, portmanteau for quantitative analysis and critical race theory. QuantCrit, they say, has 5 key tenets, including that numbers are not neutral. Numbers are not neutral because quantitative data is often gathered and analyzed in ways that
like I need another hole in the head.
Interests, assumptions,
Nico says,
and
y'all need
perceptions
Jesus.
of white elites. They contend, adding that even so-called objective analysis fails to take the pervasiveness of racism into account. Other key tenets of quant crit theory include realizing that math tends to legitimize existing racial inequalities. That would be math. Math is what they're talking about. An inanimate object, math, tends to legitimize existing racial inequalities, acknowledging that numerical analyses disadvantage minorities, and understand how numbers play to the benefit of white interests. The quant-quit approach isn't new. In
3 Mile Lemon,
academics in both the United Kingdom and the United States deployed it in recent research, including Alejandro Carvabus of California State University, Los Angeles, and University of New Mexico professors Nancy Lopez and Christopher Irwin. In the postmodern tradition, Gilborn and his team also argue that racism can be reinforced through numbers because they are social constructs. Numbers are social constructs and likely to embody the dominant racist assumptions that shape contemporary society. They write, as a consequence, they assert that in many cases, numbers speak for white racial interests. The professors also acknowledge the tension between social justice and quantitative analysis, saying the white statistics can be used to point out the failures of social justice programming. Data is
my numbers, Arabic,
silence
are racist,
and belittle equity work. Data. So it doesn't matter if the data is true. If it's used to shut down what you call equity work, it's racist. Yeah, nice bullshit you got here. This is a very I will give them this. This is a very clever bullshit ideology to get shit and to that you didn't earn. Like, good job, guys. Seriously, like that. This is an amazing ideology. You are going into math and fields like this, and you're saying, yeah, give me my accolades based on my race and based on fuck white people. Incredible. I give you credit. You did it. You fucking did it. Where were we here? Where were we? It was the data is off. Okay, there it is. Despite the purported danger of statistics being used to reinforce white privilege, they predict that if used properly, statistics can expose and delegitimize the racist and sexist, classist, heteronormative, and ableist assumptions, policies, and practices that are currently supported by the uncritical use of quantitative data. The article was co-authored by Jeff Holliday and Crownton T, who teaches at the University of Warwick, and I don't think they were that far off, frankly, so I think it's a valid joke. And Sean DeMack, a senior lecturer at Sheffield Hallam University. The article was published in the latest issue of Race, Ethnicity, and Education, which Gilborn edits. The Campus Reform has reported Gillibrand is also the managing editor of the journal Whiteness in Education, which has been embroiled in speculation over whether or not it actually employs a proper peer review. Oh, I am shocked again. Shocked again. Okay. Oh, it gets better. Asians, you're the new whites. Sorry, guys, you're next. Asian students guilty of colorblind racism, professor claims. Sorry, Asians, you're just one above us on the pyramid. Yep, Asians. Oh, I guess we'd be at the top of the pyramid. I always say we're at the bottom because we have the least grievance. The people with the most grievance get, I guess you could do it either way, honestly. A professor claims that Asian American students reinforced colorblind racism by taking responsibility for integrating Asian international students on campus. We problematize this schema not only because it places undue responsibility upon Asian American students, but because it also renders the experiences of racial marginalization and discrimination invisible for international and domestic racial minority students. It's almost like if a bunch of Asians went over to a college and all hung out with each other, wouldn't really give a fuck, because they would, they kind of like want to stick to their own kind. Not that you have to stick to your own kind, but it's interesting to notice that their default position is that Asians are coming over here not realizing how racist America is. So you must make sure listen, this is a good country. I'm glad you're here, but there's a devil. There's a devil in the country, and it is the white man. And so by you guys sticking amongst yourselves, you're being racist, and it's because of white people. That's what the argument is here. And this is the thing. This isn't some high fucking theology that I just came with, because you would think this is some crazy shit you'd come up with if you got really high. No, this is actually real. We're really doing this. This is really an article. Asians are racist because of white people. In other words, efforts to mitigate racial difference is understood and marked as belonging to non-white students in a colorblind society. Kwan and her two co-authors elaborate, basing their conclusion on interviews with students at Midwestern University and data from a 4-year research project. Kwan's team paid special attention to members of Asian American culture clubs, which have ramped up their efforts to reach out to international students over the last few years, given a recent major influx of such students to MU. Noting that Asian American
John
students
Gorai says we need to teach Asians African math is all.
Asian international students on
And I
campus.
said, John
I
Gorai said, I thought the Chinese were in Africa for exactly that reason.
University's management of difference by affirming the value of diversity while overlooking the larger patterns of racial segregation on campus and the marginalization of racial minority students, both domestic and international. To her dismay, Kwan discovered that despite such efforts at integration, many international Asian students preferred to spend time with classmates of their own nationality, and that most didn't express concern over the matter. Yes, fascinating. The Asians are like, what the fuck are you talking about over here? You guys are crazy. These fucking Americans are crazy with this racial bullshit. Leave us alone. I think these are the types of people that I'd want to have in my dorm. I would absolutely take all of the Asians, even if they don't speak English, over these fucking SJW lunatics. It would be fine.
I called back the book earlier.
To her dismay, Kwan discovered that despite such efforts at integration, many international Asian students preferred to spend time with classmates of their own nationality, and that most didn't express concern over the matter. I just read that, sorry. While international students responded that self-segregation was a preference, Kwan was troubled by the notion, casting doubt over whether their choices are based on past historical injustices and contemporary racism under normative whiteness. Yeah, I think that it's just simply how people usually are. Again, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. But you can't force people to do this shit. Normative whiteness. We should have a segment called Normative Whiteness. I mean, this shit makes you want to completely rebel to the point where you're just like having whiteness. I mean, whiteness.
What's the John Carpenter movie with a similar name?
Just, it seems like, no, you could probably do something really funny with that. Like when we get to the point where we're doing politically, or no, what is it? Offensive costume Fridays or whatever. We could have like a segment on whiteness, a white segment. We can have fun with it. You could have someone like bake a casserole. That's white. And then we can be like, look at our wonderful history. Although, I guess I'm Italian. But see, there's such a debate over that. I wonder if how the SJWs view Italians. I know the alt-right, I don't know if they're split, but they're kind of split about whether or not Italians are white. I wonder what the SJW thinks if Italians are white. I would think they think we're white. I would think so. Uncle Bobbity, normative whiteness adjacent. Normative whiteness adjacent with HB and Aiden Paladin. Normative whiteness adjacent. Holy shit. The people are gonna call us Red Ice Radio. I don't care if people think I'm white or not. It doesn't matter. all I know is we got the best goddamn food. Not that there aren't people that you can. I mean, look, I'm not gonna be haughty. Italian food is the shit. There are other foods though that you can at least hang. I'll give plenty of people credits. Mexican food, they can definitely hang. Chinese food, Thai food, you can all hang. Let me see let me think if there's any like German food's good. I like sausages. I'm trying to go into Europe now. Not a fan of French food. Sorry, French people. Who makes pierogies? Whoever makes pierogies, I'm on board with that. They're really good. Smokey over the line. I thought HB was a Chinaman until I saw his face. That's so funny. All right, so we're talking about normative whiteness. The fact that international Asian students didn't see self-segregation as a problem was troubling for Kwan, who argued that their passivity can serve to reinforce colorblind racism. So if you're colorblind, even from Asia, you're racist. Crucial Bunny, look into Japan's blackface problem. Hilarious. I was not aware. That sounds pretty funny, though, because Japan doesn't give a fuck what America thinks. I imagine they're going to do blackface and laugh at us if we make a big deal out of it. I'm going to look into it. That sounds fucking hilarious. AHNC, all hat, no cattle. Don't forget your People's Pemmican, HB. People's Pemmican. What was the People's Pemmican? Oh, Pemmican. I don't know what that is. Did you get autocorrect rape? I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to. Thank you, though. Luca Clemente, HB, as a fellow Italian, I can tell you we are brown people. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really, I wouldn't really argue that, and that's fine with me. Now, I guess it also depends, like, if you're from Northern Italy or Southern Italy, from what I understand. I'm from Northern Italy. So, I think, you know what, I think I'm going to do a 23andMe test, because I realized something. All of the things that I believe about what race I am were told to me by people that I don't have any trust in. I'm not going to get into a whole big thing here, but I don't think the people that gave me that information are reliable. So it does seem like a 23andMe test is in order, because I should be completely accurate. Because really, like, that's all. I'm more curious. I'm not doing it for, I don't really care what it turns out. But, well, even still, there would be total disqualification with the Native Americans. But I want to see if I actually am, because of the people that told me. I don't trust them. But anyway, for now, I'll say Italian and Native American. Pierogies. Pierogi is singular. Where's Polish? All right. Yep, the Poles. On board with the Poles. Those things are crazy. Yeah, there's like a ravioli thing going on with the cannolis. That's what it is. Like, it's. I'm not suggesting that you took it from the Italians, but it's like. I actually like pierogies more than raviolis. I'm not a fan of raviolis for some reason. Oh, 23andMe sells your info to the government? Oh, man. Well, we better find a different version. Better call up the Daily Stormer. Maybe they have a recommendation. All right, let's continue here. So we got normative whiteness and okay. According to Kwan, cannolis. Cannolis are great too. Jesus. According to Kwan, colorblind racism occurs when contemporary. Isn't it funny that the weed is making me say colorblind? Like, no, not color. I said colorblind like a Chinese person would say it. Isn't that interesting? Because we're talking about Asians in this article. So weird. Weed works in mysterious ways. A horrible gamer. 23andMe, you agree to let them sell your data. Man, these motherfuckers, they just won't stop with the data. Nah, I'm done. I'm done, man. Well, not actually. How am I done? Like, everyone has my data by now. I was just lucky I didn't make a real Facebook account. I saw this shit and I was like, oh, no way I'm doing this. No way. I made a bunch of fake ones, but that's it. But, I search Google. I use Google. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. Although I've always gone by a DM policy that don't DM, because people release DMs all the time. DMs I don't even view as private. I won't release a DM without authorization from another person. But when I'm DMing people, I am assuming that everything at some point will be made public. So a good thing to do is DM as if it's going to be released into the public. All right. Where was this? Aiden Paladin. So weed doesn't
Direct
just make
massage
you look Chinese.
DM.
Oh, it makes me look like Chinese. You're funny. I caught the joke. Yes. Weed doesn't just make you look Chinese. Yes, I am not aware that I am Chinese. Although, Aiden, I have to say, one could argue you have the Asian eyes as well. Just maybe different, maybe more of a Japanesey type. So, but yeah, maybe the 23andMe will reveal some Chang. That'd be interesting. Who would have thought there is some Chang inside me? Thank you, Aiden Paladin. All right.
Hindu Muffin DM. Uncle Babity.
To fight this color blindness. Oh, no. There's a paragraph before this because we have to rip white people more. According to Kwan, colorblind racism occurs when contemporary racial inequality is reproduced through ideologies, practices, and policies that support non-racial dynamics, meaning that failing to take race into account when confronting various issues can be problematic because it ignores the structures of power that privileges whiteness and white supremacy. To fight this, Kwan argues that international students' preference for self-segregation should be actively addressed by college administrators. God, you're up these poor Chinaman's asses. God damn. Arguing that right now the labor of diversity management unfairly falls on domestic students, many of whom try to make friends with international students but fail. Well, maybe they don't want to be friends with some of the Americans. There's nothing wrong with that. SSJ Punk, you're racist for not being racist. Yes, exactly. That's exactly correct. I don't make a Killer General Toes or whatever the fuck that shit's called, but I eat that shit all the time. Fixing this must be an institutional responsibility that makes serious stock of racism and marginalization of domestic, minority, and international students on campus. Kwan concludes, though she does not make any specific recommendations. She just wants to be a busybody and be up people's asses. You know, Zimu just made a very interesting statement. He just said, food is just pre-poop. Well, that brings me to the next article. Now, I must say, there seems to be dispute over whether this is performance art or not. I think it is performance art, but some lefties are buying it, so we have to talk about it. Papa Bear No Fucks missed my last chat. It's important. Peeps need to know. My apologies. Let me go back. If it's not there, if you could please quote it. Yeah, I hate how they don't put the $2 ones up at the top. They just flip them on through. If you could quote tweet the very important, quote chat the very important super chat, I can read it, no problem. So, this is some crazy shit. Cooking with your mouth is the food trend that we never, ever asked for, and we're gonna watch a video. Oh yeah, we're watching a video. If you're obsessed with the cooking channel and what I eat in a day videos on YouTube as I am, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Julia. I'm sure you've noticed some pretty funky things that go down in people's kitchens. I like Brazzers kitchens and Naughty America kitchens. Those are my favorite kinds of kitchens to watch. From weird food combinations, chickpea protein shakes, anyone, to quirky gizmos like the microwave bacon rack. One person's trash is another person's tool of the trade, and if you think you've seen it all, prepare yourself. Skip this shit. I cannot. It's so crazy. This is so crazy. It's perfect. This is the perfect article for 420 segments. Are you kidding me? This is perfection. A video showing us the unique culinary craft of cooking with your mouth. Cooking with your mouth? What the fuck? Aiden Paladin. Dude, why? You know I'm queasy. What are you doing? We're doing it. We're doing this. This is amazing. Thank you, Aiden. Is making the rounds online, and the internet isn't sure whether we should all be impressed or repulsed by this newfound skill. If you have to ask that question, you are fucked up. No, we're not impressed by this. This is the worst thing ever. Personally, I have mixed feelings about this because, listen, I love being in the kitchen. I love using my hands to knead dough, using my fancy knives to cut and chop and sear things. For me, it's really cool to find new ways of utilizing different gadgets when I'm getting creative with cuisine, knowing that my experimentation led to something valuable and so satisfying. But again, I'm referring to actual kitchen tools, your George Foreman grill at Juicer, the magic bullet, using your mouth to dice vegetables. This is fucking crazy. Using your mouth to dice vegetables, de-stem parsley, and break apart bread that someone besides you will apparently eat. Uncle Bobbity, good night, chat muffins last semester. I'll read this and then I'll read the comment that's killing me here. Anyway, first, Uncle Bobbity, good night, chat muffins last semester. My college starts tomorrow. Can't wait. So sleepy. To all you hard bastards, love ya. Como arigato. Thank you very much, Uncle Bobbity. I appreciate your support. I'll see you soon. Good luck in class. Smokey over the line. It says... I can't do it. I can't do it. Why don't they just shove the raw food up their ass and poop it out and onto the plate when the timer goes off? I can't do this. Oh my god, this is so crazy. All right. Composure. We have to keep our composure. Why would you even do this as a joke? You know why this is so bad? It's because look, you've seen the TV programs of like the leftists that are like going through the dumpster. They have money, they can afford food. They're going through the dumpster and picking out, trash and preparing it for people. And that this is like right around the corner from that. A horrible gamer. Some Indians in South American country used to soften corn with their saliva. I saw a Bourdain episode where he was in a country and the drink that they made had the women what do they call it? Fomenting this paste, and they were doing it by putting it in their mouth. And that was nasty. And Bourdain drank that shit, and he got sick. It made him sick, which I'm not surprised. Also saw today a video of some feminists protesting a Pornhub pop-up store in NYC. Boy, a Pornhub pop-up store. That's so like 1995. I mean, I guess Pornhub's not 95, but like an in-store porn shop in New York, that's like old school. I remember having to take the train up to New York to even buy porn. Actually, we just didn't know any places in Philly. That was us being idiots. All right. Thank you, Horrible Gamer. Listen to this. Personally, I have mixed feelings about this. I'm pretty sure this is performance art, but Elite Daily has mixed feelings about this. I love being in the kitchen. I love using my hands to knead dough, using my fancy knives to cut and chop and sear things. For me, it's really cool to find new ways of utilizing different gadgets when I'm getting creative with cuisine. Knowing that my experimentation led to something valuable is so satisfying. But again, I'm referring to actual kitchen tools. I just read that part. What the fuck? Sorry. Well, here's the video. So I'm going to put the earpiece in. Let's see how long it is. It's not that long, so if you want to not look, you can. But this. I heard
Bourdain got some major amoebic dysentery after that episode.
Some people are going to.
If Anthony doesn't wash his hands, blaming the food seems disingenuous.
Some people are going to cry. Let's go. Cooking with your mouth.
Hello, I'm Weaver Godfrey, and I'm going to show you how to make my Christmas turkey stuffing recipe using only my mouth.
Oh my God.
I'm sure you know that no good stuffing recipe is complete without the onion, so we're going to start there. You want to finely dice it. Really, really small pieces is key.
This is ridiculous.
So it cooks quite nicely when it goes in. It's a bit teary. I do love cooking.
Ugh.
So there we go. There we finely diced half an onion. What a lovely way to start. We're now going to dice some carrot. So we're looking to go at about 1/2 centimetre along. Put it in your mouth, chop it up a bit further, and get it out. So we're getting nice, even pieces. Moving now onto our celery, the green dream.
A fortnight later, her boyfriend consented to kissing her again.
Then it does that it gives you. Interestingly, I always use the right-hand side of my mouth, but you do what feels more natural to you. It's rather like having a drink, the celery bit.
This is so ridiculous.
Now time for some aromatic herbs. And I'm going to use fresh parsley. I find
more garlic!
Sexier than curly, so that's what I'm going to use. So we want to de-stem the parsley. And then I'm just going to finely dice a handful. As if by magic. Diced parsley. Perfect.
This cannot be real.
Next, my favourite friend, the garlic.
Ugh.
There is nothing better than the smell.
Watermelon seed garnish?
For days and weeks. Be aware that the garlic is very, very hard to handle and it really burns your mouth, but it's incredibly good for you. So stay with it and your stuffing will taste the better for it. Well, there we go. Really hurting my tongue, but you know. Now it's time for our bread, the meatier part of the stuffing. I normally say if you don't know how to target your bread, go at it like a hamburger.
Gabriel Swift says, fuck, she had to be British. I said, right? Where the fuck is Nigella? She's eating a pound of butter.
No blades, but very, very safe stuffing. It's not traditional to use a lemon, but I don't like to do things traditionally, so I'm going to add some lemon zest.
Pound of butter for lemon zest.
And for safety's sake,
pound of butter with lunch.
I'm going to use a zester. Quite an unusual flavour. Look at these lovely zesty lines. You don't get that with a normal zester at all. And then we're just going to stick our thumb in, wind it in, start to get some of those lovely juices out. And now we're going to bind our stuffing with an egg or two. And I'm going to do the whisking in my mouth.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh shit.
There we go. Our egg.
Wouldn't they? Isn't there some humiliation porn?
As with
you could argue that's what this is. But it's. I mean, she's not really being humiliated, but this is starting to get to that level.
I don't have a microwave, so I'm just going to warm the butter with the cozy insides of my mouth.
Oh.
A little salt, some black peppercorn.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
There we go. All seasoned and ready to stuff our turkey. I've got myself a beautiful turkey. Open up and then retrieve our beautiful stuffing. I can almost hear the Christmas carols now. Just push him in. Beautiful stuffing mix.
Oh my God.
Absolutely perfect.
Okay.
Made in
Okay. I can't. I can't. I'm done. I can't do anymore. Anyway, I think it's fake, and the problem is this article is this person's taking it halfway serious. Robert Loso, didn't South Park do this years ago, but up the ass? Yeah, Eric.
Christmas carols. Good God, what the fuck did you do to Christmas
eating through their ass and shitting out of their mouth, and it was South Park. It was fucking hilarious.
Wenceslas.
Don't get me wrong, I'm all for creative license. For some people, cooking is their craft, and who am I to judge someone's art? If meal prepping with your lips, teeth, and tongue rather than a traditional fork and knife set is something you're into, by all means, friends, you do you. But to keep things copacetic, it's probably a good idea to only try it at home and not serve the dish to anyone but yourself for hygienic reasons. I do feel a little sick right now because of the putting it in the turkey. Just something like actually seeing it was I couldn't. Yeah, a horrible gamer. Is she going to bake the turkey in her vag? You know, this is the reason that some people think this is real is because there was an article about a feminist, and that was a real article that was baking bread using vaginal yeast. It's horrible. It's a horrible, disgusting thing to say, but they did it. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And what the fuck? I mean, why would you do such a thing? It's like horrifying. So if people are doing that, then this is really not that far off. I think we need the nukes. I think we need the nukes for California. Should we get out the nukes here? London-based filmmaker Nathan Kedia uploaded the video to YouTube just before the holidays, summing up the 6-minute clip as a how-to for preparing Christmas turkey stuffing using the safety and comfort of your own mouth. I'm not sure what about this video is meant to be comfortable, or if chomping an onion or gargling raw egg is exactly safe, but what do I know? Anyway, it's just breaking down the video again, and we're not going to do that. So, yes, I hope you enjoyed. I think it's fake, but you know, there's some fucking hippie out there right now doing this. You know it. You know they're out there somewhere in California in the woods. All right, so we got 2 left here. Oh yeah, people are saying lowrider Kramer made salad in the shower. Oh, I would eat Kramer's salad shower over this shit. I mean, Jesus Christ. At least he had a drain in his shower. He had one installed, you know. So
Kramer's tossed salad. Ooh.
Professor, we have 2 left, creates a checklist for detecting white supremacy. I can't wait to read about this. An English professor at Linfield College has developed a checklist that is intended to help individuals determine whether they are white supremacists. In a Friday op-ed, oh, I can't wait to hear you redefine white supremacists so everyone can be one. In a Friday op-ed for Inside Higher Education, Professor Rosmi Dutt-Ballerstadt explains that after many years of contemplation, she created a list of qualities and attributes of those that overtly or covertly support or contribute to a culture of mundane and everyday white supremacy within our institutions. The academic then goes on to outline 15 of her core troubles that she identified to help others in academe recognize your unconscious contributions to white supremacy. The first of them on the lengthy list is of transgressions is working in a position of power in a predominantly white institution and doing nothing to change the white supremacist power structures within your departments, committees, and institutional decision-making process. Horrible gamer. You would eat Kramer's salad in the shower? I would eat Kramer's salad from the shower over that crazy bitch's mouth salad. I would totally rather eat the Kramer salad. I'm not saying that it's definitely a lesser of 2 evils, but you know, at least you're hanging out with Kramer and not some fucking crazy person. All right, let's continue.
Salad hold the tea bag.
Likewise, another sign of aiding white supremacy is thinking that marginalized colleagues who complain about oppressive work conditions are difficult and saying, "Oh, I am so sorry. This is unbelievable," to colleagues and students who claim that they experience microaggressions. I'm sorry. Another sign of aiding white supremacy is thinking that Martin
might have done that.
complain about oppressive work conditions are difficult and saying, "I'm so sorry. This is unbelievable," to colleagues. So if you say, "I'm so sorry you experienced the microaggression," it's a aiding white supremacy?
I think I might have done that.
Crazy.
I can toss their fucking salad.
I would have Kramer in the, what do they say? You have a golf game with 3 people. If you could play a golf game, I don't know why they pick a golf game. Some people say a hot tub. I think I'd rather go golf game. If you could golf with 3 people, I guess have dinner would be more reasonable. Who would they be? Kramer's one of them. So, you know, I don't think he's crazy. I love Kramer. Anyway. The checklist further asserts that wanting to nominate a stellar, mostly men and obvious white colleague for leadership positions and awards is also a sign of aiding white supremacy, and implicitly supports a logic of meritocracy that is built on this racist assumption that everyone has had the same access and opportunities. No. I understand that not everyone has had the same access and opportunities. I get that. I'm saying that even with that being the case, are you arguing that the least qualified person should be hired? Because who would do that if you're running a business and you actually want to be successful? No one would do that. A basketball team, the NBA, would not accept a person who's less of a player based on what their life history was in being unfair. So where do you draw the line? To people that are pro this shit, where do you draw the line? And then you're going to would you do this with your company if you had 2 people, regardless of what race they were, and one was less qualified than the other? And someone told you, well, you have to hire the one that's less qualified because they are a list of whatever. Female, transgender, black, Hispanic, a whole list of them. Even if they said because they're white, regardless. It just doesn't make any sense. And of course, meritocracy is white supremacy. And sexual harassment. When it comes to understanding your own white privilege, to get very angry if a faculty member of color points out to you where and how your privilege is operating, another bullet point states. So any sort of rebellion is unacceptable, is what you're saying. That when it comes to people of color, you want white people to bend over and spread them, basically. Interesting. You deem such critiques as uncivil and as not supporting a collegial environment. Among other points, the academic also contends that white supremacy is supported by those who actively discourage people of color when they complain to you about discrimination and racism, as well as by those who advise faculty of color to be more mindful in respecting the viewpoint of students. Notably, the professor's checklist also includes individuals who benefit so much from the system that they decide to stay out of all this identity politics, and those who have never thought of themselves as an ally to any of the causes of faculty of color. If you have made it to this point, they
checklist by
probably feeling quite hyper-visible or fragile and have decided to have some hot chamomile tea from a cup that reads white tears or Black Lives Matter. They did not respond to a request for comment. Wow. Amazing. All right, and the last article here. No, there's no anti-white shit going on at all. This is not happening at all. I'm not, because usually these are the types of stories I cover in the 420 segment. It's not that, I don't know, maybe 8 out of the first 15 articles that I've done in both the past 2 420 segments have been fuck white people shit. No, it's not happening at all. Jacobra, if meritocracy is white supremacy, does that mean whites are superior to everyone else? Bigotry of low expectations, kiddos. It does seem like some of the leftists truly believe that black people...
The 427, the 420 segment,
and that's
the
totally
clipping.
Disrespectful. And they can, and the numbers aren't going to be equal based on a lot of different things. But, yeah, they act like, oh, no, it's not even possible. Absolutely, it's possible. It's ridiculous to coddle people like this and treat them with such disrespect. Tyrannidus. HP, check out the article this article links to, please. You have to read the checklist for yourself. Link is at the top of this article. Okay, I will. We'll go over the checklist. No problem. Thank you, Tyrannidus. The University of Oregon is hosting an allyship symposium for students later this month, discussing the question, what's up with whiteness? It's just the term the corporate media is using to try to divide the country. That's really basically what it is. They got it from fucking Farrakhan and Khalid Abdul Muhammad in the late 90s. Now, I'm not saying they got it directly from them, but it's pretty much on point. Listen to the Sean Hannity, Khalid Abdul Muhammad interview of the late 90s, and you're going to think he's interviewing a social justice warrior. The January 20 event, which is being co-hosted by UO Coalition on Engagement and Allyship, the Women's Center, and the Division of Equity, will guide participants to find their place in conversations about race and systemic injustice by examining our own identities and systems we are a part of in an effort to become more effective allies within our communities. The event represents the allyship track for the Women of Color Symposium and is open to any student interested in examining white identity. I am sure that you're going to be very positive about white identity. This is not at all going to be toxic to the, what would you call it? The esteem, self-esteem of the white people attending. Oh, well, that's not even relevant. In the full-day retreat, participants will explore the question, what's up with whiteness, through an overview in terms and definitions, historical context, and reflection on their own identities. The event description states what's up with whiteness is intended to be a space where people at all stages of their social justice journey can engage with one another in entry-level conversations about white identity. Tobin Klinger, the Senior Director of Public Affairs Communications at UO, told Campus Reform that entry-level conversations provide an overview of terms and definitions. Did I just read that? I'm so sorry. Maybe I didn't. Wait. No,
Patrick Fallon. Really mashed potatoes?
More broadly,
Patrick Fallon.
He added,
thrice chewed at least.
Conversations that help participants examine their identities. Oh, and I'm sure it's going to be very positive for the white people. And the systems were part of in an effort to become more effective allies to marginalized populations within our communities, but did not provide any specifics. This is the You're a Sinner getaway. The You're a Sinner retreat. You are a sinner because you are white. This is like what they did, that documentary on that crazy Bible camp 10 years ago. Jesus camp.
Wreck the warming camp for everyone.
It's the same thing on the left. Let's see here. Students registering for the Allyship Symposium also have the opportunity to reserve a spot for a related event, the Women of Color Symposium, which is open to all deliberately misspelled women of color students. Yes. No, they're not in any way trying to change the culture. Describing the symposium, maybe I'm being overly dickish because it's just a letter, but anyway, describing the symposium as a place where students can build community and solidarity with peers as they navigate this predominantly white campus, city, and state. The event description adds that because women of color are disproportionately impacted by poverty, lack of access to preventative health care and healing foods,
White People Studies and Center for Noise Reduction,
violence, exploitation, and many more systemic and systematic oppressions, the Women of Color track will focus on holistic wellness, self-care, and decolonizing our identities, especially our names. I'm sorry, you're arguing that Bonquisha is colonized now? Or are you talking about if a black woman is named Helen, that her name is colonized? Like, what are we doing here? Really? Okay. AHNC, all hat, no cattle. I give plenty of aid to the marginalized in my community. Usually U-Haul gift certificates. Good one, sir. That was very good. U-Haul gift certificates. Well done. That was fucking well done. What did they say? I am cleverly avoiding pronouncing the word woman of color, woman X of color. It's not even a word. These motherfuckers Man. Oh, man. Now, someone said that there's a checklist. I believe he was talking about the previous article, though, because we were talking about the white checklist. Let me go into the history and bring that up. He says to go to the checklist. How the hell do you get this fucking history on Brave? All right, 1 second. Let me put the, I don't know what the fuck's in my bookmarks. Hold on. I didn't get to the history. What the fuck? Come on, history. Settings? I mean, why would you put it in settings? That's so ridiculous. No, it's not in settings. Alright, maybe I'm just missing it clearly. New tab? No. Nope. Help? No. Yeah, where the fuck did you put the goddamn history tab? Oh, control. I think you can do control H, right? No? Okay. Maybe I'll appeal to the chat. Anyone know how to get to the history in Brave? What the fuck? This is like crazy. It just doesn't seem to be there. That would be the easiest way. Yeah, the history is not under the bookmarks. That's what's crazy. I'll look again. I'll bring up bookmarks again. Or the bookmark toolbar. Maybe that will have it. That didn't do anything. Okay. I guess I'll have to go in the email and look for it. Alright, that was campus reform. I'll just look it up. That's just crazy. And it was white checklist. And it
campus romperoo
added, linked, he said. So let's while we're in the intermission. Oh, he's people have asked. All right, let me bring the. Oh wow, sorry about putting the intro on. I was typing. I found the checklist, and I'm going to bring it up. Let me. What do I have to do? Break. Okay. So here it is. Let me bring the chat back up. Okay. Here is the white supremacy checklist. If you do any of these things, you're a white supremacist. You know, it used to be like the Klan were the white supremacists. Now we all are white supremacists. Who knew? Yeah, no problem, Tyranno. This is good. This adds to it. I did this before. Remember, double audio. Ooh, that's interesting. Double audio? Huh. Turn desktop off. That's all I can do. The first white checklist, it was a white privilege checklist, and that was sent by T. Ryan, and he got it. He said all this in the chat. It was public. His mom works at a school and elementary school, and they passed it out to her. And the good thing about it, it ended up that a lot of the teachers refused to even go over the checklist. They were like, "We're not filling this out. Fuck that." So that's at least good. All right. Here we go. Here is a list of 15 troubles that I have identified to help others in academia recognize your unconscious contributions to white supremacy. Oh, I love always doing stuff unconscious. You work. Oh, right. So that one we did. We did that one. Okay, that was done. Okay, let's see. Okay, we did that one. Okay, there's one. You are aware of the many wrongs that you see your institution is doing to your marginal faculty and students. And while you sympathize with people of color and marginal students and faculty members, behind your closed door, you never openly confront your institution. Yeah, why aren't you risking your job for us? What the fuck? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. When a professor of color stands up in your faculty meetings and expresses their frustrations about inequity, you go to your trusted colleagues the next day and ask, why is she or he or them always so angry? Yeah, how dare you ask a question? And this is also operating from the space that you could never actually have an actual angry black person. Like, if you had, I mean, you remember Evergreen and the teacher, the black woman. She was completely an angry black woman. She was like screaming at people, and so look, it's not racist. She's an angry. White people get angry. So this simple labeling of people, something like, yeah, that was an angry black person, that was an angry white person. People light their hair on fire. But anyway, when you are on a hiring committee, you think that the writing samples by your white candidates of choice are stellar, while what is stellar about the candidate of color is, of course, their ethnicity. Well, that would be a retarded person doing an interview, because they shouldn't give a shit about the person's ethnicity. And how was the writing sample of the other person? Was it good? And if it was good, then we have no issue here. Was it better? If it was better, then great. You never fail to articulate publicly your commitment for increasing diversity within your institution, but when on a hiring committee, you express your strong hesitance to let go of your stellar candidate in exchange for a candidate who you perceive as only adding to your institution's diversity mission. You know what's interesting here? This is very interesting. These people refer to themselves constantly as marginalized, as there was another word they used, or was it marginalized?
Stephen Walmart. Everyone go fuck yourselves. I'm out. And I'm replied, Stephen Walmart. Thank you. Come again.
Marginal. So you're walking around referring to yourself as marginal, and now in this, you're referring to white people as stellar. I think I might be able to help you out with the issue. Maybe have a better viewpoint of black people and white people. Maybe, like, we're all people, and viewing one race as lesser, like you clearly are doing, maybe don't do that. Just a thought, just an idea. Isn't that weird, though? They're referring to white people as stellar and black people as marginal. That's fucking disgusting. That's totally disrespectful. You're literally doing what someone from the Daily Stormer would do, but in like a weird kind of reversed fucked up way. It's amazing. In a lot of cases, the left is doing the alt-right's work for them. You never... Wait, let's see. No, that's whatever. When people of color, faculty members and students, complain to you about discrimination and racism, you actively discourage them to report their cases and often try to convince them that it must be a misunderstanding. Well, I mean, if it's genuine racism, I think it's wrong to discourage them from reporting it. Although, like, I mean, I guess this is a college, so that you can't, right, okay. So I guess in the environment, there'd be something like that. You can't really do that in real life. You can't, there's no racist report department that you can go and say, hey, this guy was racist to me. And they'd be like, get the fuck out of here, whitey. Are you crazy? You see that sign there? It says no white people. But anyway, that would legitimately, this is like the first legitimate thing that I see here. But of course, now if it's in the context of a college, then what are they talking about microaggressions? Are they saying, you know, I was sitting in front of Porter, and Porter was breathing really heavy, and you know, I just think that's a microaggression. And then Porter's going to be marched into the principal's office. So is that what we're talking about? Because if that's what we're talking about, then this is bullshit. And it probably was a misunderstanding.
One of my bosses once declared I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body. I've thought about that one in the past. Smoking over the line, choose your own adventures are always so predictable.
Saying, I like your culture, then yeah, it's not a misunderstanding. You're just retarded. Continuing, you think of yourself as an ally to your faculty of color colleagues, but cannot understand why your white students are so upset when professors of color teach
There's many
sites of white privilege.
There's many a
well,
genius.
Maybe because they do it in a manner that's fucking racist.
They think
you can sell me on white privilege. I still have some lefty left in me. For example, during the sane days, white privilege was something that was like,
found their way out with that plan.
You didn't get followed in the store. Like, you didn't get followed in the store, your friend did, so you have white privilege. That's what it was. It was a thing, whatever. and there was other areas, but now they morphed it into this all-encompassing thing that affects every white person. And we've gotten to the point where I've heard this argued over and over, usually from wealthy people, but regardless, that even a wealthy black man has less privilege than a
your boss.
Preposterous, fucking preposterous. So
your boss, not that original.
And a lot of these are about institutional reviews and promotion, which is again very interesting. In your institutional reviews for tenure and promotion cases, you advise and critique your faculty of color colleagues to be more sensitive and mindful in respecting the viewpoint of our students. By our students, you really mean our white students. It sounds like at this faculty, there have been some people who have acted like assholes, and people are tired of it, and the person writing this checklist is on the side of the asshole. Maybe they are the asshole. Maybe this is one big passive-aggressive asshole move to, like, the staff at the college. This is interesting because it is from a professor. You benefit so much from the system that you've decided to stay out of all this identity politics. Yes, how dare you refuse to go along with bullshit and the exploiting of people to get political power. How dare you? You have never thought of yourself as an ally to any of the causes of faculty of color, and you've never at any time go to any events that they and other marginal folks have organized where they express their everyday struggles. But you will happily go to an event if Taz Coates is speaking in town. Well, I would imagine that I disagree with a lot of Mr. Coates, but I would absolutely rather see him speak than these motherfuckers. Claudia Rakeen, Franz Fanon, Amy Sizier, and T.J. Coles, the white savior industrial complex all rub you the wrong way. Holy shit, one of the checklists, I was right. One of the checklists is if you are rubbed the wrong way by these 4 clear, demonstrable assholes. Let's make it clear here. These are assholes running around and being assholes on a college. That might be too simplistic of an analysis, but I think that's what we have here, if we want to simplify this. One of the checklists, if you're a white supremacist, is if you like these 4 people. This is so blatant. This is such a blatant passive-aggressive move by these lunatics to the rest of their staff. You know what? I think it's good news, actually. Because if you read this, this is now a personal grievance, and maybe most of the faculty and students are like, fuck this bullshit. And that's why they have to write this, because now they're like, if you disagree with us, you're a white supremacist. Wow, what a very petty ending. That ended way more petty than I expected it to. That is fucking hilarious. Wow. Oh, well, big shot. She's not hot. Who would have guessed? I know, it's so horrible and mean. All right, well, that's the end of the broadcast. I forget if there was something someone brought up that I said I would talk about. I forget. Anyway.
Invisible hand.
Yeah, it was a
hamster.
Good stream.
You won't like the next part.
About the Surveillance Inc. videos he did. Definitely check them out. And you can check the archive, but not the episode that I broke down the Sargon Medicare conversation. I had to remove that because the owner was giving people copyright strikes. I didn't get one, but someone else did. So I removed it just to be safe. You can get that one on BitChute. That was the 6-hour stream people were asking about. Get it on BitChute, Gab TV, and Periscope for now. Also, if you want podcasts, you can go to hardnews.network and click the podcast link, and it'll be in MP3 format. And then you can also check out Google Play Music and iTunes. And we're looking into getting an app. I don't know if people would want to do that. Apparently, you can do a basic app for very cheap. I think it's even free. I'm not sure. And it looks like something that if people were on board with it, then we might think about like throwing in some cash and getting one developed. I don't really think it would be that expensive. I could be wrong though. But what it'll do is it puts I think it puts everything in one place, kind of like the website, but in like a way easier form. So I think that might actually be convenient. Anyway, so yeah, you're very welcome for the MP3 format. Awesome. Well, cool. All right, so tomorrow we'll be doing like the 1 o'clock to 2:30, so it'll be a short one. Wednesday, I believe I'm having 2 guests. The first one, the name I always get absolutely wrong. He's a great writer. He on the left, one of the few, I say the few sane people, and he's completely not sure. I think you know who I'm talking about. If you're a progressive, you know who I'm talking about. He does the Gaihan Journal, and again, I'm probably mispronouncing that. Fantastic. I'm having him on, and I think the discussion is going to be very interesting because, like I said, he is a complete non-corporate voice. He is a lefty, but I don't mind lefties if you're non-corporate. I think we can have a discussion. He's a reasonable dude.
Almost done.
He totally sees through the way the corporate media is trying to divide the people using identity politics, and I think it's going to be a great discussion. He's going to be on, and then right after that, at around 8 o'clock, 8:10, I'm having H.A. Goodman on, and we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton, Ben Dixon. Is that okay, Ben Dixon? Is it all right, other YouTube commentators, if H.A. Goodman and I talk about Hillary Clinton? Is that okay? Is that all right with you guys? Content cops. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow at around 1 o'clock. Yes, Theodori Fikri. I'm probably
Hindenburg 2016. Oh, the inanity.
So yeah, that's a good back-to-back guest deal. And also, if the dude from Amazon's still in the chat, we're definitely getting you on, and we're definitely I booked like a week in advance. So I booked, Monday, Zach Heiler's coming on. We're going to talk about dark money. Is that okay, guys? Is that okay, other YouTube commentators, if we talk about dark money? I think, I forget what the next Wednesday is. Maybe Jamal Thomas. I'm going to try to get him on. And then dude from Amazon, and then Michael Wood. So that's basically the order that I've been talking to people. So that's like the next, I don't know, 5-6 guests. And cool. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. And I am the Hard Bastard. Thank you for watching.
Dark money. Etruscan? Adios, pendeos. Adios, pendeos, he said. And I replied, Smokey, your mama was a grand puta. But that's why she made the big dollars. He said, adios, pendeos. It is why she made the big dollars. I mean, let's be honest here. It's entirely the reason. Hey, we had a 10-minute viewer earlier on. So, I'm 3 hours downrange. I do have something else to get to before the evening gets done. I'm going to set up a little tiny bit of music here. I'll go with the Pete's Monkey Bar deal. Because I like Pete's Monkey bar.
Monkey T on the guitar.
I'll pop the Discordian map again too. Something is telling me I should probably stop and eat a little. That would be my stomach, I guess. You know? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I was doing something here earlier that was using this document. Went over this earlier in the stream. It was at about the 1.5 hour mark. Multidimensional mapping and 2D projections. And I got into this. A frank discussion about numerology. I'm going to do this now before I'm going to go to a break, get something to eat, and come back. I mean a proper big break, and then I'll start the stream again. A frank discussion about numerology and or how I learned to call a grid a filter for the sake of the Cartesians. I once met an archaeologist called Ranger. Define Ranger. A wanderer, a rover, member of an armed troop employed in patrolling a specific region. I don't do this for every word, but for this one, let's just do it. Member of a group of soldiers, U.S. soldiers, that are specially trained for making raids. It's from Wordmic. How about if I go etymology route for Ranger? This is to prove something about definitions. Ranger, a gamekeeper. Agent noun from range. That's where we get the forester and stuff, right? Range also from circa 1200 Orangen. Move over a large area, roam with purpose of searching or hunting, from Old French ranger. Range or rank, see range. General sense of line or row, as from early 14th century. Meaning row of mountains, like as in the meaning row of mountains, a mountain range. Meaning scope or extent. First recorded in the late 15th century. That of area over which animals seek food, they range over an area. Is from 1620s, from the verb ranger. Sense of a distance a gun can send a bullet is recorded from the 1590s, meaning place used for shooting practice from about 1862. Cooking appliance since the mid 15th century for unknown reasons, like a cooking range, an oven range. But then again, there's a grid. There's a grid over some fire cooking spots, right? Stove built into a fireplace with openings on top for multiple operations. Range finder attested from 1872. Another sense here, range circa 1200 Longin, move over large area, roam with purpose of searching, hunting, Old French ranger, earlier longier, to place in a row or range. Get in line from reng row, line from Frankish krang, or some other Germanic source, from Proto-Germanic krangaz, circle, ring, something curved, from nasalized form of Proto-Indo-European form sker, to turn or bend. Sense of two arranged in rows is recorded from circa 1300. Sense of to arrange in rows recorded from circa 1300. Intransitive sense of to exist in a row or rows from circa 1600. Ranged or ranging. So we might have noticed that the word orange was there also. Orange. Late 14th century, draw in a line of battle from Old France, arranger, put in a row, put in battle order. From range, rank, from Frankish ring or something similar. Rare word until the meaning generalized into place things in order. Meaning come from agreement or understanding. Musical sense of adapt for other instruments or voices from 1802 to arrange for another piece of music. Gamekeeper, ancient noun from range, the ranger. Ranger as civ. Let's look at it around the other way around. Ranger at Wardnick. A wanderer, a rover, a member of a group or armed troop. That was, remember, if this is the first thing that I looked up. It's the first retreat, or the first hit. We only got the first 3 on that hit, though. Warden employed to maintain, chiefly British, keeper of a royal forest or park. One who arranges, a rover. That which separates or arranges, a civ. Calciprese, etymology of this name. That which arranges or separates. I once met an archaeologist called Ranger. A grid is a filter called a sieve. 7 versus 5 is an organizing principle, right back to yesterday's long ass discussion. Q Amun versus Q Aten. Why do I prefer 5? You could say that I'm a numerologist. You really could just say, you're just a fucking numerologist always going on about 5. The principle behind some of the grids around us is 7. This particular grid I'm pointing out to is the calendar, the week. That's the Amun, the Q Amun type of week. So I see it. But there's also the Q Aten type of week. And that one might be happy with 5. Why does the number matter at all? Might be the question you ask rather than assert that I'm a numerologist. That's the thing I'm going to end off this little part with. Why does the number matter at all? For my purposes, it's only for a calendar. It's only for the sake of understanding what a calendar is. How it is itself a grid, a filter. And why is it that the fallback solution is the most important part as far as I'm concerned? One who ranges. Dog that beats the ground in search of game. Ha! Funny. A sieve, a kind of fish. A kind of seal. A steer or horse raised in a cattle range. A ranger. And as I say, this is only the first 3 parts of what I've got ready for today. Next part's going to be a little more involved. But I definitely got to eat before I do anything. So YouTube, if you're only now joining me, my name is jamespfp. I'm going to be back again in about half an hour. Pick up where I left off. Please leave a comment below if you got any thoughts or questions, queries, major criticisms, all appreciated.